Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Internet. Hi, Internet. I think we're live. We're live on at least a couple things. Rob, are you with us?
Can you hear me on this at all?
You're really low.
Can you hear me on this mic at all?
No, I don't think you're switched over. Is that your phone or laptop?
I'm watching it on my phone. Oh wait, you know what? Hold on. I thought I had it up on my computer too, but I didn't. Give me a second.
Uh-oh, he's stuck in a feedback loop.
Oh, I know what I need to do.
We gotta save him from his feedback loop. I've done this before.
The streams. He's crossed the streams.
You don't know how many times I've had a lot like on a show. I find myself switching the preview instead of the live feed on a wrestling show. That's been awkward a couple of times, but thankfully my video guys usually aren't going too crazy. Giving Rob a compliment as he left. He's online bits. Mike, how you doing? You got energy over there?
Yeah, sure.
You've been strangely quiet.
I've just been chilling.
It's one of those days. It's one of those days.
It's one of those months.
Well, one of those years. Just 2020. Yeah. It's okay.
One of those
turns
years.
out the Mayans say it's over on Sunday, so you got that to look forward to.
Thank God.
That's where we go again. Great time for, hey, it's going to end next week. Okay.
Hey, you know what? We may not even have WWE next week, so who the fuck knows?
Well, what's in the can? Like, I guess we should talk about it on the show, but
I don't know.
Like what? We don't. Well, yeah, none of that's public, but
I don't even know if I assume this week's NXT and this week's SmackDown.
I hope so.
That's what I assumed.
I was concerned. But I want to talk. We didn't talk about it on the show. We didn't.
Okay. Hey, can you hear me?
Matt, yes,
we
can hear
don't
you.
get infected. We stay infected.
Hold on.
Oh my God, Florida's gonna be the next big shutdown, isn't it?
You know what?
Donald
Trump is reporting that the latest symptom of coronavirus is blue lightning marks on your face.
Hey, I heard we got a vaccine for AIDS. That was nice.
Yeah, that
was news to me. I was like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, fuck everybody. It's over.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I hear something. Tap the mic. You think I should hear?
Let's see.
Nope. That's definitely your device.
It's just my earphones. Hold on.
Welcome to Wrestling Mayhem, where everything's made up and the mics don't matter.
Dude, you have seen this show.
Yes.
I was gonna say there are only 2 mics that matter on this show, and I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not the other one.
No, you are.
Figure that out.
Nah. It involves brain.
If Matt Carlins could go into the studio, then we'll talk.
Oh my God, Facebook! I can't Facebook. Why am I on Facebook? I'm trying to find this show.
Sorg says he's gonna stick a 6-foot Q-tip up my nose if I show up at the Sorgatron Media Studios. I don't think I'm coming over
that's why we haven't had guests in the studio. I got the Q-tip threat.
No. It's not the biggest thing
God.
that's been shoved up my nose ever. So.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Tony. Everyone, in case you guys don't know who I am.
We'll get into introductions.
That's fine. That's a good baseline.
Can I introduce you as a voice of RWA?
One of the voices.
Yes.
One of 3 voices.
One of the voices of RWA 2PW and a snappy dancer.
Wes Newton's favorite son.
Yes, I thought that
maybe not after Sunday.
I think you're gonna get a whole other kind of heat in Wes Newton after that one.
I got some weird friend requests.
Oh, did you? Oh,
that.
did you?
Yeah.
Happy Pride Month.
I'm all inclusive. That came out weird, but okay.
Like a resort?
Sure.
Fuck!
Sure.
I'm not recording this. Fuck. You know, it's probably for the best. All right.
Candles?
Let me. What's that? All right. We're recording now. Rob, how are you doing? Are you with us? No, he's complaining on his phone. I don't think he can hear us yet. Matt, are you doing okay? Are you feeling good that New Japan exists?
Oh yeah, 6 o'clock wake up call 2 days in a row. Another one coming tomorrow.
It's just like
Toriano.
It's just like you're
outsmarting the Bullet Club D team this morning.
Oh jeez. Oh
Have a
jeez.
good time. Sorg, I sent you the commentary position
Yes, you did. We'll talk about
for
that.
New Japan. It's exquisite.
Right, we'll be right back.
Can we, Matt, just a quick, so I can tee this up for the show. Do you have an opinion about the videography of the greatest match of all time?
I have thoughts.
Okay, we'll get into some thoughts.
Like, what are we? Are we discussing the enhancements?
Can we talk about the I'm going to have you guess which things I yelled at the TV for.
Are we going to talk about whether or not it qualifies as a real wrestling match, or whether it should fall into the cinematic wrestling match category?
I just have problems with
Most of us have decided it's another thing entirely.
I just need
I think
to.
it's cinematic.
Yeah, it's something. It's something.
It definitely wasn't a wrestling. I mean, it was a wrestling match in the traditional sense of what a wrestling match is, but there were some cinematic elements to it that were definitely piped in. We shall say.
The thing I have to wrap my brain around is that if I bag too heavily on the greatest match ever, and I rag on them doing multiple takes inside of a match, and how it doesn't make it a real match, and how the entire crowd are just essentially plants, and it's not a real crowd, and it's not technically a real match, I am technically undercutting all of Lucha Underground, and I don't think in my soul I should be able to do that.
I don't think that's true at all.
Lucha Underground was kind of a similar setup. You had basically, a studio audience, but I mean, I guess my whole thing is that
You're
it
definitely
was a real audience that had a real reaction to things. It wasn't an audience that was going to react the way they were told
Yeah.
to react, or the way they think they should react.
You're definitely undercutting Wrestling Society X. I think Lucha Underground might be a little bit safer.
By the way, Wrestling Society X, congratulations on signing Mike Bennett. Congratulations on
Wrestling Society X, the only promotion that didn't last as long as the Confederacy. Also, any season of the XFL.
It's true. Both. 2 seasons. Well, season and a
Hey,
half.
can you hear me now?
We can
Yes.
definitely hear you.
Okay, good.
All right. Can you tap on the mic that you think we should be hearing you on? Yeah, that's definitely it.
Okay.
No, just like tap on it. Like just tap on it with your finger.
Well, I just don't know where exactly it is on this.
It's definitely clear. Okay. So we were not going to have an overly cinematic Rob Cam this week. Good. Dude, you were getting wild last week. I come in, it's like, here he is in the corner of the screen. What the fuck is going on? Somebody is seeing you on a 42-inch television and be like, what is happening right now? Oh, jeez. Well, now that everybody's ready, I kind of want to go grab a coffee real quick. So,
Yeah.
Wow, Sorg.
Dude, I've been sitting here for like 2.5 hours. Oh, I need to unlock the door.
That sounds like a you problem.
Hold on. I'm going to leave you guys here with the chat room and a recorder, and I'll be right back because I also need to unlock the door because somebody's going to be dropping something off.
And that's the last we saw of Sorg.
There's no rules.
Sorg was then abducted by a gang of masked men, thrown into the back of a van.
The 7'4" masked man was really a shake-up, though. I did not expect that one.
Mad Mike, what is his name in canon right now?
Big Ninja.
Big Ninja! Alright,
don't like
what is the name of the other ninjas? Ninja 1?
Ninja 2? Ninja 3, Ninja 4.
How are you keeping track of which one's 1, 2, 3, 4?
By putting a knife to my head.
It's like that ninja did something. I guess he's ninja number 1.
Are there easily distinguishable characteristics of ninjas 1 through 4?
Oh yeah, they're actually all wearing different shades of black.
So you have like Big Ninja, and then you have like Black Ninja, and then you have Charcoal Ninja, and you have...
I don't think we can call any of them Black Ninja. I think that's offensive.
I mean, okay.
Big
gonna be
Ninja
careful
walking
tonight.
a very,
We don't wanna get anybody
very
in
fine
trouble.
It's
line.
already pretty close to being offensive.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close. I'm just thankful Jerry Lawler's not on commentary. By the way, do you want to know how long Randy Orton had rest holds on during the greatest match ever?
I don't know. They were the greatest rest holds ever, though.
I wasn't counting how long they were both literally just lying on the mat. I didn't count that. But Randy Orton had a solid 2.5 minutes of just headlocks.
Nice.
Solid.
I mean, it was a even film. You know, you cut a. How long was that match? Around 40 minutes, something like that.
40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So they cut that down. That had to have been a solid like 2 hours of work, and they decided to keep 2 minutes of rest holds in there, which is interesting. Although I did love, I'll be honest, laying down and chopping someone is now weirdly one of my favorite things ever. Is just attacking someone while also resting.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the more slightly interesting moments of the match.
Yeah.
All right, go. Let's show, guys.
Whoa, show.
Show. Tony, I'll probably lead in chatting just a little like semi-plug discussion about the 2PW stuff off of the Indie Wrestling ad. Which are...
I just follow your lead.
Yep. Plan, rough outline in my head. So we'll see how that goes.
I do it with Doc all the time. I just follow his lead.
I mean,
you're just Doc Light.
I'm Doc Light.
Same facial hair and everything. Well, no, you have an upper side. Hi, Doc.
Am I going to have a Doc off? All right. What episode is this? A lot. The answer is a lot. Awesome Cast 500 next week. 10 years.
Edge got his injury during a retake.
Oh, no.
Of course he did.
Is that legit?
That's legit.
Shit.
That cat is adorable, Rob.
That's
Yeah, she's pretty
that's
cool.
why they call him One Take Edge.
I think I'm gonna keep her.
There you go. Oh, cat attack. There you go.
Yeah.
It's going to meow right into your microphone. It's going to be great. Wait, where's it going? Where is it going?
She's
Oh,
no,
and
it's
gone.
jumping.
There it is.
Yeah.
That was for you, chat room. It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show 719 Tuesdays. We've been talking about professionalized wrestling. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media compound in Pittsburgh, PA. Ready to chat some wrestling with you. Chat, podcast, talk, I don't know. Whatever the case is, you guys are out there on the stream on multiple formats or on podcast form. Thank you, everybody, for following us. We've got a hell of a crew with us tonight. First of all, the man out of lockdown in Beacon, New York, the only Mayhemmer with a future endeavor letter from the WWE. He is Mad Mike.
Hey, Sorg. I'd like to point out that I've been podcasting over twice as long as the Confederacy lasted.
Well, there you go. Yes,
that's my heritage. Podcasts.
Everybody has their spot. Also with us, back with us with Kimball the cat, who just went off frame. Cameraman Rob's with us.
Yeah, she'll be back.
She'll be back. Don't worry, she'll be back. The
She's
kid,
never more than like 3 feet away.
yeah, pretty attached to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
She's only a month old. What's she gonna do?
Also back with us, and he's going to catch us up on the single day of the return of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mainstream Matt back with us.
It is a pleasure. I am ready. I am well rested, and I've been up since 6 a.m. 2 straight days.
For 2 straight days.
That seems counterproductive.
Okay. We'll see if he can last throughout the entire show. Also, first timer on the Wrestling Mayhem show, I believe. He is one of the voices of the Renegade Wrestling Alliance and the Prospect Pro Wrestling commentary team, Tony Kincaid. Also, Snappy Dancer. Tony, how you doing?
It's never going away, is it? It's
No,
never in a million years.
I mean, just let me have this week. I mean, we did just release it yesterday, so
that's true. But you didn't have to do a dance mix. You didn't have to do a dance mix.
I exactly needed to do a dance mix. I mean, it deserved it. I mean, so for those who don't know, Tony lost a bet in a live interactive poll where he was in a virtual wrestling match with a child. How old was that kid?
5.
5.
5.
Okay, he lost that to the kid, and had to wear a dress on the show Sunday night for RWA, and there were dance break cues. I shared this on the Wrestling Mayhem Show group, and dude, you got some sick moves.
No, I don't. They are embarrassingly awful moves.
Let me rephrase that. You have some moves.
Deal. We will agree to that stipulation.
You moved a lot.
There was movement.
There was
Newton's first law of movement was in effect.
Yes.
It fulfilled all the requirements to be a move. Yeah.
Merriam-Webster did define it as dancing at some point.
There's a picture next to it is him with his booty up in the air. So I believe there was some twerking in there. I don't know. I couldn't tell on the frame rate on the feed, but so
there was some twerking, there was some thrusting, a little bit of side hip action. All things that I'm excited for my future children to find.
Fantastic. Anyways, this is the Wrestling Mayhem Show. You can find everything at WrestlingMayhemShow.com, where you can find this and other great podcasts and discussions. The newly renamed, and I'm just going to rename the show every week. The Monday Mayhem Show that we do after that chat room. Me and Matt Mike.
You don't like Monday Night Warriors?
No, but, well, it was Monday Mayhem. We can do Monday Night Warriors next week, and then we can keep going with it until we settle on one again, right?
Sorg, let's assume there's something beyond next week.
Okay, we'll get into that as well. But also, please go check out everything there. Please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcatcher for the Wrestling Mayhem Show, the Wrestling Mayhem Show super feed, maybe, so you can get all that stuff and you don't miss a show. We've had some great stuff on the Indy Mayhem Show the last couple of weeks. Rob, I think you're getting a little bit of clicking on your end. I'm not sure. It's bringing you up. But also, you can drop us a line at that email address.
Good
times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com or 412-206-WMS0. That number should already be in your call while I'm drunk on your address book on your phone. And, of course, please check out at Mayhem Show on the Twitter and the Wrestling Mayhem Show Facebook page and group. A lot of great discussion happening over on the Facebook group, too. And, of course, we're live here every Tuesday on Facebook Live as the main chat, but we are also out there on Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, and I forgot to start the Instagram. Maybe we'll kick that going after I'm done with this, and I get you guys talking about something.
The 18 to 24 demographic has been forgotten. Sorg,
I know they need that direct close up of my face because it's vertical video.
Deploy the gram.
But I can't do that because I need my screen right now to tell you about our wonderful Patreon supporters at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. Our friends at the fan of the show level. Bo Diggity! Woo! Ed Burke, Bobby F.J. Town, Team Hammerfist, and at the Poppy Club level, Bradley Brothers, Dave Podner, Daniel Towery, Tina Keys, Pizza Club level, Doc Remedy, who got a new haircut today, and Kyle Turner. And at the manager level, our friends at OccupyProWrestling.com and Farmsworth Investments. Thank you, everybody. You guys can support the show, too, at Patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. All right. You know what? A lot of today, I think we're going to be talking about production. Wait, we want to talk about production first, or we want to talk about Japan? Here's your choose your adventure part of the show. Where do we? Because that's my 2 points of the day.
Okay, but before we get into that,
Happy thing or sad thing?
Yes, happy thing or sad thing. Mike, you were saying?
Before we get into either, I have to bring up a joke I just read about Raw last night.
Okay.
From Brandon Stroud, who deserves. Honestly, this is. I almost had to mute my microphone. I was laughing so hard. He said Ric Flair looks more and more like the First Doctor every time he sees him. and they should make a show called Doctor Wu.
Oh boy.
I'm not gonna lie.
WWE Network, there is money here. You are being handed free money.
That is because as someone who has a literal Lego TARDIS right next to him, I would watch the shit out of Doctor Wu. I also now want to take every single Doctor that's existed and assign them WWE personalities.
Okay, this seems like a good project for.
Sounds like that could take a while.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know if it would take as long as you think.
I can help with the reboot. I'm versed in the reboot and 6. Not the most 5 and 6. Not the most versed in 7 or 8.
I need to catch up myself. Anyways, okay, let's go to Japan. Let's go to Japan first, and we'll talk. I just wanted something positive, guys. I need. If you can tell, last week my anguish professional wrestling apparently can only be defined by lyrics from Linkin Park songs. So I want to start with something positive. You gotta see last night's clip for that. Matt,
I don't know what you're fighting for, Sorg, or why you have to breathe.
Matt, with children in the background, please tell us about what New Japan is going on. So if you hear it,
New Japan is back, baby. What more do you need to know?
Yes.
They served their time.
They
put it on stall since they had it in park since February. They were doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, they were doing
They were like the first
something.
to pull the plug, right?
Yeah, but they just they shut it down. And the crazy thing about this is that even while New Japan was just there were organizations in Japan that never stopped.
Really?
Because they're desperately crazy people. But we're not gonna,
I gotta say, look at what some of those promotions do, and you think coronavirus is going to stop them?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. New Japan is back. The New Japan Cup is underway. They did a little surprise show. Well, not a surprise show, I guess. Unannounced card show to kind of kick things off. The usual, 6-man tags, 8-man tags, the kind of meat and potatoes New Japan undercard stuff that you live for. And if you're me, you could just wrap yourself up in a nice Chaos versus LIJ 6-man, like a warm blanket at 6 a.m. and just kind of curl up and just be like, let's just watch them go through the motions. Let's watch Naito wrestle in his t-shirt for the whole time. I don't care. just do your thing. And then the tournament itself got underway early this morning, or perhaps 3 days ago, Japan time. I'm not sure how time zones work.
Or 2 days. 2 days from now.
2 days from barely, somewhere in the time vortex out over the Pacific Ocean where we crossed into yesterday. And they started a pretty neat streamlined show. You got 4 tournament matches. You got a 8-man tag in the middle of it because you can't without it. It was nice. It's a little tricky because a lot of the talent is still outside of Japan, and it's very difficult to get back inside the country. Your Will Ospreay and your Jay White and your Kenta, to name a few, not in the tournament anymore. So they are going to the Young Lions and the junior heavyweights to help fill out the card. So, but hey, we got a Toru Yano this morning, which is great. And the main event was really good. Ishii versus El Desperado, if that's your thing. And if you're a wrestling fan, Tomohiro Ishii should absolutely be your thing. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. And we're on and on there. Back at it again tomorrow morning. Sorgi, the 3-person booth for the New Japan broadcast. If you're watching live on New Japan World, there was no English commentary. Apparently, we do not have this technology yet for Kevin Kelly to call this match in another country.
No.
So he's apparently going to record that later this week, and it'll probably pop up over the weekend. So you absolutely have to have it that way.
So it's okay that I haven't hopped in yet because I can just drop into the English stuff later.
Yeah, you could if that's your thing. Yeah, you can do that. But I mean, the Japanese commentary is great. I mean, and if you saw this booth, Sorg, I sent you a picture of it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. Hold on, I'll pull it up for a second.
I will describe for the listeners very quickly. It's a long table. You've got play-by-play guy for New Japan whose name escapes me, and that is a crime because he's awesome. And on the other far side of the table, you've got Milano Collection AT sitting there. You've got a plexiglass between both of them, and then between them, between double plexiglass, is a monitor. And the third member of the announce team is in the monitor. And I don't know how. I don't know if it's dumb luck. I don't know how they did this, but like the background behind the announce team in the arena was basically like the pushed-in bleachers that you remember from gym class in high school.
Yeah.
You know, kind of that stacked up, plastic gap like that. I don't know if this was like some sort of lucky accident, but the background behind the woman, the third member of the announce team, was nearly identical to this. So when they showed the three of them, and she was perfectly framed, Sorg, she was this video shot. We have suffered through so many horrifying video chats going out over broadcast network television.
Yeah.
Terribly framed.
Looking at you today,
frame
show.
rates.
Looking at you today, show.
Sorg,
Yeah.
Sorg, it looked like she was physically there between them. The shot was pristine. It was framed perfectly. The background matched what was behind the other two guys. It was perfect. I couldn't believe it. And I don't know what else to say. Nothing but respect for New Japan for this one accomplishment. They made this woman in a monitor appear to physically be between the other two guys on the announce team.
So you want to know my first impression when you sent me this picture? I'm looking at this girl in the middle on the TV, and I'm like, is she rendered on a PlayStation? Because she does not look like she's like this looks too good. Right? Like it
was perfect.
I was ready for you to tell me that they implemented an AI commentary team to interact with the real ones.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it fooled me, so I mean, that's all that really matters. If I bought it, then, but I mean, just what a technical feat.
Yes.
I was impressed.
So
it's great to have New Japan back. The vibe is good. There's just enough young lions and photographers around the ring making noise.
Okay.
To make it work.
Okay.
It's not like the AEW or the more recent WWE presentations where there's wrestlers all over the place. There's no one out there kind of pretending to be in the crowd.
Yeah.
But there's enough chatter, and I don't know, like the commentary is like they did a really good job of just like it appears to be just business as usual, and they're calling the matches just as they would if there were 18,000 people in the arena with them. And they're calling these moves out. And so props to them for bringing the right amount of intensity. It's a good watch. It was fun.
Good. So on that vein, I was impressed with I was watching back NXT earlier today, trying to catch up with last week's episode. And they were flashing back and getting a lot of people's reactions watching at home or something like that. Or I don't know if it's from the bump or their watch along or something. But is Morrow calling the NXT shows from home? Is that what I'm catching?
Yes. Morrow and Beth are, I think.
Wow. That is impressive. And like I'm not like typically like I've caught some like NXT UKs where you're just like, oh, they're definitely like not there or something, right? Like it sounds.
Well, the NXT UKs I think are just highlight shows at this point.
Oh, right now they are, of course. Yeah, it's weird. I tuned that in this week for the first time in a while, and it's just like, hey, here's like they're taking pics. I'm like, hey, here's Regal and Fit Finlay from the Great American Bash in like 2004, maybe. So I was like, okay, I see what we're doing here. And then it was like Rhea Ripley and Piper Niven, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so it was Tony Storm. It was Tony Storm and Rhea from the finals.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say Piper is no longer with NXT UK.
Oh, really? Is she out?
Or maybe I'm thinking of Jazzy.
Oh, Jazzy.
I think I'm thinking of
Jazzy. Yeah. Because last I knew, I thought Piper was a pretty big mainstay over there. So, but anyways, so what was my point? Oh, there. So that brings us along to before we get to the bad news part, because we're gonna have a lot of separate thoughts about that probably. What a weird fucking weekend for wrestling. It's just so. We didn't have much going into the I keep wanting to call it backlash,
Backlashley.
Backlashley, thank you. His name is in the pay-per-view, so he should have won, obviously. But we got arguably too cinematic. I know we were having that discussion before the show. The greatest match of all time. There was a discussion I had with somebody about are we too hard on this match for what they did? It was a good match. There's a lot of storytelling. Not discounting that. I have a problem with the presentation. I have technical problems with the presentation I can't get past on this one, and I know they're trying things, and it's going to be hit and miss, okay? Like, I get that. But, go ahead.
Do you know what my main problem was with the presentation?
Hmm.
My main problem?
Unmatching crowds? More headlocks?
No. All that stuff I can forgive. That's fine. All that stuff, because that's going to happen. That's going to happen. I understand that. My biggest production problem with it, first of all, the ghost voice of Howard Finkel.
Oh.
And for no reason whatsoever, the Madison Square Garden microphone.
Yeah.
Like, you only do one or the other.
Yeah.
You only do one or the other.
Well, I got the reasoning behind it. Like, obviously, the greatest match ever, and because it's a WWE production, Vince thinks the greatest match ever occurred in 1980 in Madison Square Garden. So in the 80s, I'm forgetting what year Hogan Andre was, but
yeah, but that wasn't in the Madison Square Garden.
No, it wasn't. It was somewhere else.
None of the ones they listed as their greatest match ever took place in Madison Square Garden.
So it's not like that's even synonymous with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
But for your
it's not like they're.
And it's not even like either of these men are from New York. They're from Canada and St. Louis. Like,
but from your average fan, they're looking at this and they're seeing the production. They're hearing Fink's voice. First of all, I'm not
fan has no clue what that.
No clue who Fink is, and no clue what the overhead mic looks
like. What is the average fan?
Yeah. The average fan, like maybe they know Fink's voice, maybe, but the average fan, they should have just gotten Lillian Garcia.
That's true. That's a fair point. I did like going back to the old school shirt and bow tie. I did like that part of the production. The piped in crowd. It's good to know they're using the WWE 2K20 engine to good use since no one's playing the game. But
they're still showing 2K19 more in the background.
I saw that. I saw the AJ Styles poster.
It was all over the place last night.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like you would think that was the new game and that it wasn't like 2 years old.
Was it? Wait, so were they back in, like, was it like the hallway where there's just like a bunch of pay-per-view posters and DVD posters and stuff like that?
Or like in the office or whatever.
No, it was in an office.
Because they have posters of everything.
Yeah, so because it's completely incidental, because those are just the posters they have up, because that's just what they do there. Versus, and actually, I feel like it's been a while since they've done one of those where it's like the GM's office and here's the poster of our latest 2 releases, right? So,
but that's closer to what it was, like a set design thing, not a oh, this is just what the hallways look like. No, it was like it was just kind of funny how that seems to be the one they're still pushing. Even though it's like 2 years old.
That's hilarious. Matt, we often hit each other back and forth about when production goes awry in wrestling and in news, apparently. Can you guess 2 of the points where I literally yelled at the screen? Mike can back this up.
I think this might have been spoiled for me, but I think you might have hated those camera shots that were like inside the action. Yeah. Like the under the lockup and like the what was it, like the ground's eye view of Edge getting DDT'd at one point.
Yeah. To me that screamed, this is where we took a water break. And set up this shot, because I don't feel like those shots will have, hey, get it in the ring for this suplex, right? Kind of situation. Like it doesn't fit for me, and really took me out of the match. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a little. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
It was a little bit weird. The other thing that the thing that kept like going into my brain as I was watching this and hear more about it later. Like, okay, so they've got all like the developmental kids in the audience now. They can instruct them to do whatever they want. So WWE should be able to get their ideal fan reaction, basically exactly what they want to do. The ideal reaction to a professional wrestling match is what you should get out of that crowd. And you got the crowd chanting, all these, played out chants that get done way too much. Like, you get the "This is awesome." Did they do "Fight Forever"? Did they chant that?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
At one point, like, if hypothetically I were in control of that crowd, I would be telling them, look, this is an opportunity you guys are missing to reprogram your fans to perform at a higher level. Here is all you need to instruct those fans to do. Cheer for the babyface, boo the heel. Don't cheer the match. Don't cheer, whatever. It just don't cheer the company. Cheer the dude. Cheer on Edge. That's cheer Edge, boo Orton. That's it. And those are instructions going forward for every match you're going to be watching inside of that arena.
And it's bad enough, like, they're already trying to tell us it's the greatest match ever, right? So then the reactions we all see are the people, like, because this is supposed to be the greatest match ever, they're going to be saying "Fight Forever" or "This is awesome" or "This is," to where almost like you said, if they're just like cheering and booing, that's, while it's pretty generic, it's still better than hearing exactly what you're expecting to.
At least they didn't chant "Greatest Ever."
Well, I just feel like in general, like, wrestling fans in general need to get off of that kind of get off of that road of chance and just pick a side. And that's what wrestling's supposed to be. And it baffles me that WWE is like, they're leaning right into it. It's just a sound.
Yeah.
Well, no, they pick the side, Matt. It's against creative.
But that being said, it's still, like, technically, like, even with the cuts and all that stuff, and I know maybe in the live situation the match would have been different. It certainly would have been a little bit shorter. I mean, I would say probably 10 to 15 minutes shorter. But it was a good match. But it was a cinematic. It was like a hybrid cinematic, real match, but not really. And you can't really. You can pick up sort of kind of a couple times where it was obviously cut and redone and an angle was changed here and there. If they would have just filmed Randy Orton and Edge wrestling for 25 to 30 minutes normally, that's probably a really good match. Maybe not the greatest match ever, but they're two of the best ever. Why not just do that?
Yeah. It's interesting because when you, discovering this from when, I think we talked about this a little bit. What is happening on Fortnite right now, Matt? So I think he just quieted him. But anyways, we talked about this last week from the training sessions recordings we did with Prospect Pro Wrestling. When you take away the fans and you don't have to do everything in one take. In front of 10,000 people, 5,000 people, 50 people, like, it changes the whole formula for things and how they can be presented, right? It changes that idea, that, and we were kind of joking. I think Matt was saying, can we really discount this as the greatest match ever being a pre-recorded, fanned, cut up, sweetened kind of thing? Because does that disqualify all of Lucha Underground? And I think there's that. Man,
there's a lot of people who have been talking about, like, kind of like with certain of these, like, quote unquote cinematic matches. Your Boneyard match and the Money in the Bank and the Stadium Stampede. I mean, it's obvious that those are not. I mean, people can consider them real matches if they want to count them in that column. But, like, in a perfect world, like. Are they playing by those same rules as every other wrestling match that occurs? No, and this one really wasn't either. You're in front of you're in front of a crowd that is being basically instructed to do what they're going to do, and you're cutting, you're shooting it. Like, I don't know how long they went between edits here and there, but, like, I mean, it does make you wonder, like, does this even count as a match?
Yeah.
Or is this just go off into the pile of stuff like the Boneyard and whatnot, which were good, you know, and sure, this match was good too, but it's just kind of a weird in-between zone. But
we act like, you know, this is the first time that we've had pre-taped matches on a show. It's not. The Hollywood Backlot Brawl back from WrestleMania 12 was pre-taped for the most part.
Right.
Granted, there was one live element to it.
Right. Where we're also we're not calling it the greatest. We're not calling it the greatest Backlot Brawl ever. It was though.
Yeah, but halftime heat where there was a fucking title change. Mm-hmm. Like you can't you can't out call these not matches because they are matches. The only thing that may not be considered a match technically is the Firefly Funhouse match. Because that was more of a deep dive into John Cena's psyche.
Yeah. But I think also, like, we're kind of taken for granted, too, that everything has been live for, like, the last 20... Well, not live, but, you know, like, before, like, 20 years ago, it's like WWE was usually recorded anyhow, right?
Yeah, except for pay-per-view.
Yeah, they didn't start going live until, like, late 96.
Like, for full... Yeah, and then it was, like, every other week or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But or every third week or whatever it was, but yeah, like you talk about halftime heat and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, there's no doubt that was pre-recorded and stuff, and and it was going to air in that 15 to 20 minute whatever the halftime was for the Super Bowl, so it wasn't a lot of, you know, oh, this was pre-recorded or this was, and even then, like the things we're talking about being ridiculous now were just as ridiculous then too, you know, because like the forklift cam, you know, like that, But it's funny, it's like, yeah, like you said, everything used to be technically, you know, pre-recorded, but it's only now really where they're getting heat for it because or it's starting to take on this. They've been doing it so much lately that like the whole cinematic thing, it's starting to mean what it doesn't really mean. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so where you see like a match, like the greatest match ever, and it's almost like, why bother? Why did he? You know, it just stands out that much more. Like when you see the inside of a tie-up, and it's like, why?
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And even partners pulling out outside of takeovers. NXT was taped weekly until last October when it went live on USA, of course, and they were great matches. And I think we're not. You know, there's matches, and then there is a. You know, I think the problem is we're seeing an obviously doctored match, right?
Yeah.
We can't just watch it, sit back, and if there is anything that they had to retake or something like that, we don't notice. But the problem is...
Because honestly, like with Lucha Underground, like we were saying before the show started, before I heard that they cut down matches and stuff, you couldn't tell.
No.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're really, really, like... intricately watching the match, and even then they cut it down to a science where you'd never know that they cut a bunch of shit out.
And I gotta say, like, if it wasn't for the fact that we had to hear one of the worst taglines since Money in the Bank of the greatest match ever, and that getting shoved down our throats the last 4 weeks, like I already have an adverse reaction to you telling me this and using one of my favorite musical songs reprise without Hugh Jackman, fuck you, is, you know, that bothers me to begin with, and then you pull all this other shit around it.
Performance Center, all right?
What's that?
It was Panic at the Performance Center.
Yeah. It's go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and also it would be one thing if they were doing the whole event that way, you know. But when it's so obviously just the one, match, or that, you know what I mean? Like if they did the whole show, that it would be interesting to see it done in that style. But
we're complaining about this not being real enough. After, as Potter points out, we just came from a segment with ninjas on motorcycles and magical turkey legs.
Oh, don't worry, we'll complain about that soon.
So I think
that
the thing
kind of goes without saying.
Go ahead, Tony.
It's really not about pre-taped. It's the cinematic thing, and you know, some of these cinematics, like, we can't talk about Matt Hardy without saying that he probably popularized the cinematic thing, and everyone has now jumped on that boat. I do agree. It's outside of the Firefly Funhouse match, which was my favorite match of the year so far, just because it was so meta for a wrestling fan. Like, I'm as a quote unquote smart mark, you know, you sit there and you're like, holy crap, they're doing a deep dive into like this is basically a pro wrestling wiki page turned into a match. That was awesome. And every one of the cinematics have had great concepts in base value. I think we're just getting to the point where as a group of people who are wrestling fans, we're tired of it because it's happening so much. It used to be a dessert. It used to be this really rich, triple chocolate devil's food cake type deal. And now we're seeing it every pay-per-view on multiple companies in multiple ways with multiple angles, and they're advancing the angles. A cinematic every once in a while is a great way to hide things. For the training sessions, everything was pre-taped, but we only had one cut we had to reshoot. And there was a reason for that. So we can't knock pre-tape because the television era was started on pre-tape. Maybe just dial the cinematics back. Give us back a 20-minute, even if it's pre-tape. Like, who gives a crap? Like, if someone botches, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's wrestling. Who cares?
And also, not to
doing
mention,
it every show. Oh, I was gonna say, and doing it every show. That's how you end up, I guess, with a show that's nothing but that, because that's what WWE likes to do.
Yeah. Mike,
that'll become the July pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And not to mention that the other cinematic we got, the Viking Raiders versus Street Profits, that was advertised as a normal match.
Yeah, that afternoon.
So, I mean,
wait. That afternoon it was advertised.
Yeah, but it was advertised as a normal match. Like, it's also a bait and switch. Like, if you knew you were doing a cinematic thing, which was clearly shot beforehand, obviously, don't tell us it's going to be a normal match. This isn't like saying Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream in a parking lot brawl. Like, yeah, we kind of expect that to be not a normal match.
I also I also want to point out, for them to drop that day is interesting, because when you watch that segment, that was a complicated segment.
Oh god, that segment, like, there's a dartboard of ideas.
Right. But I'm saying
just hit every target.
I'm saying production wise,
fell off. The dartboard fell off.
They didn't. I don't think they just did that Saturday night and decided to do it. Right? Like, that is production wise. That is a complex segment to put together with the number of shots, the effects.
That's a several hour shoot.
Oh yeah.
That's a several hour shoot.
They were there all night for that.
And especially, that was probably a 2-night shoot, because all that stuff was darkened out, and it's summer. It stays later, especially in Florida, a lot longer.
I think we all looked out the window and noticed how light the sky still was. We're in that segment where it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't track. But
it ended in a dumpster, and that's all I have to say about that match. And
so, sorry. I have a guest in here. I was pointing randomly
in
into
a dumpster. All right. Yeah.
I'll take if you give me the cinematic like Edge Orton, that's fine. I'm absolutely okay with that. But yeah, the bait and switch, I was not cool with that. I was lukewarm at best on Street Profits Viking Raiders anyway. Even though I think those teams are good, I don't like how they've done this feud.
I just want to see them wrestle.
Just wrestle.
I just want to see them fucking wrestle.
Like, show me how to wrestle.
Like, I want to see them wrestle each other.
I just want to see
them wrestle each other.
Straight up, like, wrestle.
It's been 2 months, and technically the Raw Tag Team Championships have not been defended at all. They should technically be stripped of those championships.
Yeah,
if we're really going by
the 30-day rule. We still follow the 30-day rule.
Well, unless you're Brock Lesnar.
Well, either way, at least we haven't gone to the VR stuff. I just got a VR helmet dropped off, so that's what I'm wearing right now.
Sorg, there is VR.
There is VR. There is VR.
You do realize you can watch pay-per-views in VR.
Oh no, I do, and I think that company got sold to Apple, and I don't know if they're still doing that anymore.
Lovely.
The next VR, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll go see if that app's still on when I load up this Samsung S9.
I saw some of a match while I was at Access one year. It's a lot of fun.
It is fun, and I've watched some of those too in the VR. It was just I had the older Samsung, so it was a little hard to watch them for long periods of time. And so the ones you watched, they were like edited down and everything. Is that correct?
Nope.
No, you had like the full matches.
Mm-hmm.
So they only put on the like in a day or two, they'll put on basically like less than 10-minute versions of most of the matches. So yeah, and it's essentially it's like 180, and they're like, hey, we'll be up on the top of the turnbuckle for one match, and then we'll be like down on the camera down by the barrier when they go outside or something, right? So it's really interesting. I mean, it was kind of an interesting experiment, and hey, they're always kind of pushing for stuff like that and figure out what's the new interesting thing going on. So, well, we'll talk a little bit more about. We're going to talk about wrestling production a lot tonight, I think, because some of us are kind of production nerds here, or deal. Actually, no, everyone here deals in some sort of production around wrestling. Now that I think about it, at least have in some capacity in their careers. So that's an interesting turnaround. But hey, wrestling's still going on in some fashion, or at least you can go back and check out stuff you missed over at IndyWrestling.us, IndyWrestling.network. That's where you can go subscribe to the Indie Wrestling Network. $5.99 a month. You have a 7-day free trial. Catch up on a lot of the stuff going on over there. Just posted a new Premier Championship Wrestling out of Cleveland, Ohio from November. And so please go check that out. I know Atticus is the champion at the time there. Atticus Koger, definitely. If you have not checked out Atticus, maybe you've heard of the 440 with him and Gregory Iron and Ricky Shane Page and that crew. Tearing it up, but he's doing some great stuff in Cleveland in general, and the rest of the crew, including the entire lineup of Prospect Pro Wrestling. In the training sessions are happening on the Indie Wrestling .us YouTube page and on the Prospect Pro Wrestling Facebook page as well. A lot of great stuff, a lot of great interviews. And also you can check out the Indie Mayhem Show podcast over there. Again, we're having a lot of great discussions. We're having a discussion with Drake Braddock that we recorded last week, Wrestling with Depression, that's actually going to go up on the feed this Thursday. So keep an eye out for all of that stuff. I'm going to get this thing off of my head because it's getting really weird and I can't hear things on my headphones. So speaking of which, the training sessions, Tony, you were there. We did a lot of stuff. And it was kind of a different environment in general, putting that show together. And of course, you guys just did the quarantine bracket this past weekend, revealing what's going on with Prospect Pro Wrestling. Was that the first pre-tape situation like that you've dealt with as a commentator?
Yeah. In professional wrestling, that's the first time I've had to deal with a situation like that. But luckily or unluckily, because I guess I didn't learn how to reshoot a match except for the one we had to redo. And that one's fun. That one was a blast. I don't know how many. Oh yeah, it was.
Although I still think we need to keep the original commentary.
Yeah. No, that was such a blast to do.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a long day. That was 8 hours, 6 hours shooting and like 8 hours of like prep time, plus travel to and from.
Yeah.
And that's a long time. But the thing that stood out to me while we were doing it was how passionate everyone was. Like, this was the first time in a while that they had all been able to get in a ring and just work and just do what they love doing. And I fed off that, and Doc fed off that. And then we brought some of the guys to the third mic, and they did some commentary too. And then, talking to them, and it felt so refreshing to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was for that moment and we were going to have to go back and we were making new stuff.
Yeah.
And as a creative person, making new stuff is what anyone who works in the wrestling industry really should strive to do, is make good new stuff every time they can.
And of course, we've been doing a lot of stuff with you, Tony, and Doc and Church, between the RWA shows, the watch-alongs with 2PW, and there's other stuff that we've been doing across Indie Wrestling with other promotions, just trying to keep things happening in general while we can't get people in a ring or anything like that. I think you've expressed to me you're tired of talking on a microphone from your home on Google Meet every weekend.
I mean, I'd love to go back. I really would love to go back. Even like, anyone who's been doing an RWA show knows that right now, if we were going to do an RWA show, it would be 174 degrees in West Noon Gym. It would be awful. We'd be sweating, and I'd love every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fans would feed off of it, and I'd get booed and called Billy Kool-Aid and have stuff thrown at me, and maybe get physically threatened, and those things all are awesome things that I feed off of. Maybe threaten me less, but whatever. I did threaten a 5-year-old, so I guess I got it coming to me. But
yeah, that's all they're gonna remember when we come back about that part. So
God,
yeah.
Now is it going to be harder though with like with the 2PW thing? What was kind of nice about it is it was pretty self-contained, what we were doing, so it wasn't like, oh, you had to remember the angles from 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Whereas I imagine RWA might get a little trickier as things start back up. But it's like, what were we doing?
Where were we? I think that's going to be depending on how long it takes for certain companies. There was new rules that came out this week. Some companies are trying to do shows, and then others just are folding until further notice, basically.
And then it's like, who's coming back? Who's not coming back?
There's been expressions about people coming back, maybe not right away, but eventually, and then others are still like, we're doing a wait and see. And it is. This is new territory, and some probably don't want to be the first one to make the mistakes out there, right? I mean, I think that's why you're seeing measured responses. By certain companies doing different things, so that everybody's going to attack the situation differently. So they'll be interesting to see. I mean, at this month we're doing between the 2PW and Fight Underground's going to be doing recordings this weekend, again an online kind of affair, and that creates new opportunities. So it shows if this happens, if this keeps happening. Because we literally don't know. Anything that was planned in July still may not happen at this point where we're at. Hell, WWE still may not happen at this point, as we learned today. So, I mean, that shows how volatile the situation is.
But I think that's exciting, especially coming in like me, who's I mean, I'm not even 2 years in on commentary. I don't know. So you were there day one when I was
day one. When you were here, okay.
Yeah. Me. No, my day one, not your day one. Your day one was in 72 or something.
What? How old do you think I am? What the hell?
It was BC. So this is all part of a learning process, and I'm still learning. That's the best part of professional wrestling is it allows you, even as a non-wrestling personality, to learn every time you do something. With the training sessions, I had to learn how to forget in a single microcosm everything while still remembering it, because you still have to remember that there's heat between Joey Moses and Rev. You still have to mention that Rev Ron Hunt. You have to still kind of mention that there's some, but it's not going on right now. This is a different separate entity, but those things are still there. When RWA kicks off, we still have to do during this 64 team challenge, we still have to mention that there's guys like Rev and Ryan Edmonds who still have beef that they have to settle. Joe Rosa, Justin Idol, guys like that. There's still stories that need to be played out.
And the RWA things that's been a mad genius is behind pulling that thing together. I'm like, hey, let's do a show, and they're like, let's do a 64-man interactive bracket tournament. I'm like, okay, and I'm like, oh god, it's going to be July before we're done with this thing. But that's been a lot of fun too. But that and it's a whole different kind of thing that's being done to kind of, again, just give something for the fans to talk about and interact with and everything. And that's how, and that ends up with Tony in a dress dancing on cue. That's where we're going.
Ignoring the dress thing, I do have to say this: all the Pittsburgh, the local independent companies right now during the quarantine have all done unique things, which
Absolutely.
I think is and I work for two of the several that I'm thinking of. So to my own horn here, the commentary for 2PW and RWA has been top notch, especially color. And so, but the other companies are doing really interesting things too. And so none of us are yoinking each other's styles. We're all doing new things. So you watch Fight Society or Fight Underground, and you're interested in that. You see what Rise is doing and their story, and you're interested in that because it's not what you're doing.
I would say Rise with a Y, like they are doing Fire Pro video game shows with all their Rise talent, and the Rise talent is cutting promos on these matches that are happening, being simulated on Fire Pro Wrestling on PlayStation. It's fantastic. I've seen a little bit of the matches, some of the promos, like the intro video. It's great, and it's a great way. And they're using their Patreon too, which gives them something to, the fan base to buy into to support the company too. In the meantime, which is smart. It's awesome. Fight Underground, who has not had a single match yet, has a following to the point where I think somebody in Illinois is copying their style that we discovered lately. But I don't know. Don't talk about them; they'll disappear because I don't know what the fuck they're doing out there. But anyways, so there's that. So an interesting exchange I had on Twitter last night as somebody was sharing a documentary with a lot of familiar faces. I'm going to share. So if you go on Amazon Prime, there's a documentary by JB Destiny, who's part of actually the Fight Society or Fight Underground Council. Did a documentary a few years ago. So there's some familiar faces, like there's some Lee Moriarty in there, Christian Black, Quinn Magnum, guys like that over on Amazon Prime. But conversation beyond that, I asked how California wrestling was going, and they said some groups are doing drive-in shows. That's it. In all of California. It's a big fucking state.
California, their cases started to go back up.
Did they? Yeah. And I don't know what their athletic commission situation is out there. So, and then here we're on the edge of West Virginia, where it's just anything goes apparently. So
it's a no man's land.
It's a no man's land. It's a no man's land, but it's an all wrestling land apparently. So that'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out. You know, I just see more. It's inevitable. A Pittsburgh company, I believe, will cross the border and do a live show there. I just think it's going to happen.
I feel like you're probably right. I don't know which company. You'll know before, and you'll tell me, obviously.
We'll let you know where to show up, Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. No, I know it's frustrating, and the coronavirus, COVID-19, has been a pain in the ass to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Myself included. But the fact that all the companies, like none of for the majority part, none of the companies really like gave it a second thought of, well, how is this going to affect me? The first thought for everyone that I talked to was, how do we protect the fans? How do we protect the wrestlers?
Yes.
So that gives me hope. I tell Sorg this every once in a while, and I'll tell now the entire world that's listening to this. Working in independent wrestling saved my love for professional wrestling, because I was hating everything that was going on. Pro wrestling does save lives. What's up, Juggernaut? Pro wrestling does save lives if you find your niche in it.
Yeah. So from that, speaking on the local level to kind of a more, I guess California, at least bi-coastal here. So the news came out, staying with kind of current eventy kind of things and the effects on wrestling and why we're having the kinds of discussions we just had in the first part, because that's how we get wrestling now. It was officially announced that somebody at the Performance Center was tested with COVID-19. I saw an article today in passing that it looks like Mojo Rawley was also tested positive, to the point where here we're on Tuesday. It is June 16th, and they actually canceled their tapings for today, which from what I read was at least two episodes, and they didn't disclose what they were, but 2 programs were to be filmed today.
I think it was Raw and SmackDown.
You think it was going to be Raw, what, next week's Raw and SmackDown?
Yep.
So this is, and I think this is back in April when we talked about what WWE was doing in AEW. Like, and how this conversation happens with Indy Wrestling, this is inevitable, right? With everything that's going on. We felt, at least. And it was kind of a, when's the other foot going to drop? And it feels like it's dropping. And I can't remember if we talked about it on the show, but I was kind of concerned when Triple H is, we're going to start testing 2 weeks ago. So we are going to start testing for this, for the people that come in here. All the cleaning procedures, all the temperature checks, all of that kind of stuff. You know, and transgenderly in PA, the big thing that's allowing people to have shows is that we can sign waivers to say that we don't have it. That's our way into having wrestling shows without testing anything like that. If you're concerned about this, and obviously 2 people in WWE got that, this seems kind of iffy, and I'm kind of concerned. What happens to WWE here with this? Well, probably nothing because it's Florida.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it feels like they're not going to run any shows until everyone is tested. But I mean,
that can take 2 days, from what I understand. It will take there were 48-hour tests or something like that. The rules in PA we're going to be.
But then it also takes everybody else not going anywhere for 2 days or not.
Yes.
You know,
And
everyone knows there has to stay home.
Everyone who gets it has to then stay home for 14 days after you're found out.
Yeah.
Plus, there's not 100% certainty that you're quote unquote cured after those 14 days because we still don't have enough information on the virus itself.
Yeah.
And not to mention that. And not to mention that last night at Raw, there were people in the crowd that weren't just NXT developmental people.
Yeah,
there were family and friends in the crowd.
Family and friends. So it looks like, because AEW looked like they were doing the same thing, right? And to be clear, AEW has been testing everybody, I believe, every week for their shows. So, and that's not 100% foolproof, certainly, but still.
You're basically playing with fire in that situation. No, sorry, Rob. You're basically just playing with fire. WWE has been playing with fire for months right now. AEW is playing with a little bit less fire because they are doing a lot of – but one person catches it in such a big company and such a big production, the whole production can catch it.
Yeah.
And it spreads like wildfire. And you're just looking at it from the 2PW. Like, we had maybe 24 people in the building.
Yeah.
And if one of us would have gotten it, all 24 of us would have had a situation. Now, I think all of us are good. It's been a couple weeks now, and none of us have said anything, so I think we're all good there. And we were getting zapped in the head every time. WWE wasn't keeping kosher. So, 2 people have it now. Yeah. How many people are going to have it by tomorrow or the next day or the day after that? They've been playing with fire for so long because they're idiots sometimes.
And
then they bring in Portrait of Health Ric Flair. They bring him in. As this is all coming to light, let's bring in the oldest, unhealthiest.
Charlotte had to have been so happy to see her dad there that day. Are you kidding me? Like, that being said, that angle was awesome. The use of Ric Flair was great. Oh, okay. I will fight for this one.
Is this your hill? Is this your hill? No. Let's hear his hill. Let's hear his stance on this, please.
Okay, so if this is the direction you're going with Randy, there are 3 people in professional wrestling that know Randy better than anyone else, and that is Triple H, Dave Bautista, Ric Flair. One of them arguably would be the one that goes, this is an unhinged Randy. This is the unstoppable Randy that we recruited into Evolution. So you go back a 15-year, 20-year storyline. It makes sense for a Ric Flair or a Hunter or a Batista to do that, and in their mind, do it to save someone. I'm sure Ric Flair will cut a phenomenal promo next time Raw films, which might be 2021 at this point, but it will be a great promo. Explain that he did it to save Christian.
Yeah.
But all right,
that's my hill.
Okay, that's and I get what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. It's Christianity versus evolution. I got it. But
now that you put it that way, I don't like it as much.
Can that be the T-shirt?
I'm just kidding. I can't. I saw that joke somewhere else. That one's not mine. But I don't like, and this is something I've always said, and it actually has new context in my brain after watching Undertaker: The Last Ride. I don't want to see anyone over 40 or 45 on televised wrestling. I don't want to see it, because every single minute, every second of screen time taken up by someone like that who has done a lot for the business, it takes away from building new stars. And it also, like, have you guys watched all of the Undertaker documentary?
Yep, just caught up.
Yeah, I caught up.
It frames the Undertaker to me in a much different light. This is a man that needs to see therapy. Like all of them.
Yeah.
All of them involved. Well, no, because the stuff they talk about, they always say, I never understood having to get up for a match. It's having to come down from a match. That's a disorder. And that, you're just feeding addictions at this point, to a point where it bemes unhealthy.
So
look at what Ric Flair has done to himself.
Yeah.
Just because he can't chill. He has no chill for this at all.
He just keeps chasing it.
Yeah, it's that South Park game where you're chasing the dragon. You're never gonna fucking catch it.
But it's not like Rick is now. If Rick puts tights back on,
he's going to. I guarantee he's going
hope
to.
to God he
it's
does.
Edge and Christian versus Rick and Randy. I guarantee that's where they're going with it. Absolutely, 1,000%.
I hope you're wrong.
I know.
Yeah, I really hope you're wrong.
No, but if that's where they're going with it, the easiest way, and I said this last night, I'll say it again. You could have done the same thing with Charlotte. Charlotte could have been the one to attack Christian, and then you could have Edge and Beth against Charlotte and Randy, which makes a hell of a lot more sense to me.
Yep.
And sounds like a better match, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of interesting movements going on there, and also, this is also the first since the talent the creative firings and everything too. So we'll see. There you go. I'm a Paul Heyman guy. There's your yeah. All you need to do to get Mike's loyalty is buy him a bagel.
Pretty much.
And he'll buy your T-shirt and wear it on the show.
You're not wrong.
No.
You're not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong.
You just need to be the most recent one to buy him a bagel.
Yes.
A bagel.
Yes.
I'm not even the most recent. Hashtag all bagels matter.
Mike,
okay,
DM me your
yeah.
address.
Oh.
DM me your address later. Yeah, I'll send it.
It's gonna mail you a bagel.
It'll be freeze dried and still fresh within 48 hours.
Yeah, there you go. There's a local Brugger's that'll deliver, right?
Yeah. Hashtag butts for Bradley. Hashtag bagels for Mike.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. That's a better hashtag. Guys, speaking of food that you can send locally, you can get somebody's favor in the Pittsburgh area, because that's where Slice on Broadway is. SliceOnBroadway.com, Beachview, Carnegie, East End, PNC Park, around the greater Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. Sorry, everybody else. I know Tina's not impressed yet because it's not in Seattle. We're working on that. I'm trying to get in front of your chat line because I know I see it every week. But anyways, so we're in our friends that support us when we used to have guests in the studio every week on the show. So, and it makes me and make sure that I don't forget to eat on podcast day, because you don't know how many times that happened before we had a wonderful sponsor on Slice on Broadway. And you think I'm wired now? You should see those days. But they're there, and they're a little fuzzier and lower resolution, but they're out there. Also, I was really close to the webcam for some reason. But anyways, thank you to our friends Slice on Broadway, SliceOnBroadway.com. Let them know the Mayhem sent you. You guys are going to hear a little bit of break. We're going to be right back with a big question, and we're going to get to this week's homework assignment from Professor Jacob Edwin.
Homework.
I need to start calling it summer school with Jacob Edwin. I have
these. They need to be WCW beach themed pay-per-view.
Yes.
No, don't, Rob. Rob, I like you. But you do not want to change that.
Remedial School with Jacob Edwin.
Yeah.
While we're on break, I'm running upstairs quickly. I'll be right back.
A girl can be so tired of Domino's. No, I get that. We just empty room.
So I'm watching the Raw that has the homework assignment on it.
Yes.
And this is like the week that Shawn Michaels was in the NWO.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was trying to remember which week it was without having to look it up. So I was looking at the screenshots on the network, and I'm like,
right.
It's in 2002, and I know it's before SummerSlam because Taker's.
Yeah, and it's not too late. Yeah, it's not too.
There are 2 title changes within 2 months.
Yeah,
like that's ridiculous because Taker loses it to Rock, and then Rock loses it to Brock.
I have some great thoughts on this match on commentary. And what JR and King do. Good stuff.
Well,
it made me watching this match made me sad to hear AEW Jim Ross.
Farnsworth.
I thought I liked you, Tony. I thought I liked you.
Made me so sad.
Oh God, what?
Yeah, this Raw is like oh God, so many Chris Nowinski's on it.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Gata.
Jackie Gata.
Whoa.
Yeah, I just saw Jackie Gata and Molly Holly.
Jackie Gata got a fair shake.
Mike.
She didn't. No, I'll give you that. She did not get a fair shake. But we can say that about 50% of the WWE roster that crossed, and you have a what if. Like, I have a what if with Maven. I actually think Maven wasn't a bad worker.
No, Maven could have been something real special.
Mm-hmm.
And he just got the shaft. So
you could have put him in a program with Taker right after that Rumble, and he could have at least gotten an IC title ran out.
I feel like I am aware of rumblings that he was kind of a shit dude.
He was a school teacher.
But that doesn't mean you're an okay guy.
No, I know.
You'd still be a shitheel and be a school teacher.
No, don't talk about Mordecai like that.
Don't get me started. I'm in the middle of a Facebook argument with a pastor right now. So.
I never heard a cross word about Maven.
I haven't either, actually. If that's true, that makes me sad.
I think he ended up with some issues later on.
That might be. Maybe that's what I heard. Wait, listen. He doesn't have to be an asshole. He can just be not. The boss can just not like a dude. You know, like. When I say there's always something else,
is littered with bad dudes who drew money. So like, let's not.
Yeah.
Really, there are main events from WrestleManias full of them.
Oh yeah.
Plus Maven. Maven also made it onto. Plus Maven also, he was on the. Did anybody watch this Surreal Life that he was on?
No.
Yeah.
So he got to show like more personality being on, something outside of wrestling too.
Jeez. Well,
it was that SummerSlam. I still wish
write down all the hardware
here.
Wrestling can always be filled with bad people who draw buttloads of money, and every one of us is like, listen, favorite wrestler in the world, Chris of all time, Chris Benoit.
Yep.
So how do you think I feel?
Yep.
Life sucks for me.
Yeah.
I can't watch a single match from my favorite wrestler without getting sick to my stomach.
Feels bad. I'm with you, but I can still remember, like, seeing the moments, seeing the Radicals, seeing the WCW matches and everything.
I can't do it.
I remember the memories. I'm not going to go back and watch them because
I can't
it's
even
not
watch like the triple threat. Like WrestleMania 20 is forever, and it's the greatest moment in modern WWE history, and I can't watch a second of it because it makes me sick to my stomach. Not just because of what Chris did, but because of Eddie's death. And you're just like, well, that's a moment in time I can't relive.
Don't even think about watching the pay-per-view after that. Oh, brother.
So, anyways, the questionable decisions and people aside, this is the Wrestling Mayhem show, which is probably full of those. But we're here, and you're watching, and we thank you for that. This week, get creative. a little bit, guys. I kind of mentioned about this alternative venue situation potentially with indie wrestling. People are trying to figure out how to do this. If you were to put, maybe this is quarantine-minded, maybe this is just, I just want to see this happen. If you were to see a wrestling show in a different type of venue than typical, where would that be? I should probably come up with my own answer for this, too. Mine, I'm still working on the drive-in idea, personally. But where would you like to see pro wrestling that you haven't seen pro wrestling? Or regularly, I mean, this could be this thing that existed that you're like, I'd like to see more of that.
Wait, like to watch it or to have a match exist?
Yes. In a place where we can't have the typical 200 people pile into a sweaty gymnasium piled onto each other to watch wrestling, where else would you like to put wrestling that could be a decent alternative? We're helping out the indies, man. We're helping out the indies. What can we do? Where can we put wrestling to continue wrestling for the sake of wrestling? Do it.
I got it. On a lake.
On a lake.
A lake. That's what I want. You get a giant ass. You get a giant ass like piece that you put in the middle of the lake that's weighed down heavily by weights and properly constructed and everything. There's a ring that's a part of it. Everyone is taken out to the ring on jet skis.
Okay, I'm with you.
All the fans in attendance are in giant inflatable tubes.
Tubing.
Yes, this is what I want. And you call it Lake Ness Wrestling.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Wrestling on a pontoon. Pontoon Palooza. No, that's
Pontoon Palooza.
No,
sure.
that's just a boat sale promotion.
Bash at the buoys.
Bash at the buoys. I like this. I like these ideas. Anybody else want to go? Anybody else?
I was thinking.
Hold on. Bobby said, "I could not on a lake. I could not call it fake." Sorry, I had to get that in while it was timely. Very well done, Bobby.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
I was thinking, and I even mentioned, we probably talked about it at the time when we did that Hilltopolis thing a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Like whatever park that was, where it was like overlooking the city, to where the city was in the background of every shot.
Grandview Park. It was this concert that was put together by the guys I work with up in Allentown here in Pittsburgh, and it was amazing. It was a live stream thing. There wasn't even internet in the park, and they pulled internet in for us, and we streamed this thing. And what was the Cool Kids were headlining, right? And
plus they had people talking and stuff before that, where I was the one shooting out, down over that, that angle the whole time. And I remember even when I'm just like shooting people at the podium talking, it's like, holy shit, you can see a lot just in the background.
Oh yes.
With the city, to where it's like that would look awesome as like a backdrop for a show, especially as the time of day changed and lights come on and stuff. So
you want it up in Grandview Park overlooking the city.
Or just, like a place like that. I'm sure every city kind of has one, probably.
I think the closest to that, and it wasn't filmed, but Rise did one down at that music fest at Highmark Field that you look across and say, that would be a cool place to do like more of a wrestling show, too, in different contexts, of course. So, also, back up. We're still on this lake thing, by the way. Tina says that was already done. Lex Luger body slamming Yokozuna on 4th of July. Yes.
Tina's responding to Dave, who said helicarrier.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Basically, Dave is going into the MCU for this one.
Okay.
And Tina thinks that the Intrepid can fly.
Okay. Hey,
I'm okay with all of these.
I'm with that. If she told me that, I believe her. So.
We don't know that it can't.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
We never tried.
There could be a repulsor beam in the hull. We'd never know.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, Matt, do you have any ideas for this that you'd like to see? Did we take all the good ones? I know.
Well,
this
we always pipe dream about Heinz Field here in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And shooting the fireworks off the tops of the buildings in downtown Pittsburgh and makes such a beautiful backdrop. Now, Heinz Field might be a little bit of a tall order. That's a big stadium. But there's a smaller venue up the river a little bit, Heinz Stadium, where our rinky-dink soccer team plays. And you basically get the same effect. You get, small, football field size stadium, much more smaller seating capacity, same backdrop of giant buildings to shoot fireworks off of. It's basically all we're looking for is something to shoot the fireworks off of. And they look real nice going up the tops of those buildings in downtown Pittsburgh. So,
that's right.
I'm all about the backdrop. It doesn't really matter where we are. So,
plus the smaller, like if it's a scaled, smaller stadium, it just takes that much less to fill it and make that look full.
There you go.
Yep.
So
I think Highmark is probably my favorite answer of all of them, because it's the one that, like, if you know anything about the owner of the Riverhounds, he's actually from Connellsville. So, which is right near RWA/Rise territory. So, Tuffy, if you are listening to this, and I don't know why you would be, but if someone wants to send this to Tuffy, who is the owner of the Riverhounds, I know some people.
There you go.
So, but selfishly, my backyard, because I have a nice acre. Unselfishly, I think a cornfield that we would hollow out for a ring, and we would just give very, very vague directions to it. And if you find it, you can watch. And if you can't find it,
the rage in the maze.
What about old-timey wrestlers just appearing out of the field?
And we have run-ins where they come directly from the cornfield. Like,
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. The Ring of Dreams.
It would be the Ring of Dreams. It would be the Ring of Dreams.
That's the one where you can have all your legendary wrestlers just wrestle. Just get them all there. Like no one under 45 is allowed to be at that show.
If you show up to that show, you can watch it live, and if not, you can watch it on IndyWrestling.us. 7-day free trial.
Exactly. Tagline: if you build it, they will fight.
Yeah.
See, I like where your head's at. You can take that into a further extreme. You got to do the Speakeasy wrestling event where you find a venue and you do zero advertising, and you basically, it becomes like the secret that you tell everybody.
That was basically
Virgil would still end up there somehow, though.
Exactly.
That was basically how Altar Bar did all their concerts when I was a kid. Like, no advertising, and you would just show up, and a concert would be there. And you didn't know who was playing. Sometimes it was a dinky band. Sometimes Fall Out Boy would show up, and you're just like, "Oh, wow, okay."
I like this idea. So there was talking with Glenn Spector and Potter last week on the Indie Mayhem show, and reading the Devil Budokan book. I was not aware. Gentleman Joe Perry, who actually just passed in recent weeks here in Pittsburgh.
May he rest in peace, a legend.
Absolutely. But he ran these outlaw shows in the late '90s, early 2000s, which were not. I guess they weren't state commissioned. And it was basically that effect. It was the secret shows, and all the wrestlers showed up, and
the right people know.
The right people know. Some fans will show up. You'll get paid, but I think that was part of you'll still get paid no matter what. And it was just another thing for people to, like, the wrestlers to have a chance to wrestle and grow and do that whole thing. This is like a piece of Pittsburgh history I was not aware of. These secret shows, but with like pretty legitimate names as far as like just people in Pittsburgh wrestling, right? So like that's kind of the Speakeasy wrestling, isn't it? And this was like in Penn Hills or something. I think they were doing this. So
sounds like it. It probably saved money by not paying the commission. So it's probably a good deal.
Here's what you do: you have the front of the Speakeasy be a VHS rental store, and you call the store Tape Traders.
Oh, wow. We just bringing it back, man. Bringing it back.
Because those who know, and they'll be like, let me mosey on into this VHS store, even though I don't have a VCR. Let's see. That's weird. A copy of UK Rampage 96 on 92 on its side. Pull. There's a ring.
Oh, can we? And then I convert all of the shows to DVD. Okay, got it. Yeah, because I'm not dealing with dubbing VHSs.
You have to deconvert them to VHS.
Oh, I'm not doing that. That was literally
the last. What's the last Blockbuster doing in Alaska? I think.
I think it's Nebraska.
Is it Nebraska or Alaska?
I didn't think there were any more in the U.S. I thought
there is.
There's one holdout.
Oregon still. Isn't there one in Oregon?
There is only one in the U.S. Hold on.
This is how mystery it is. We can't figure out what state it's in, but there's one.
Like Montana or something.
I thought John Oliver told me
it's in Oregon. It's in Oregon.
It is in Oregon. Oh man.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Do they still have the jockstrap from Gladiator? They have to.
They're the one that bought it, right?
That was the Alaska one, I think. But
no,
yeah,
I
it had to go somewhere.
I think they sent all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic. Anyways, so with that, there's some ideas.
From the chat room, we had a couple of responses. Tina said at the Derby, like Churchill Downs would be interesting.
Ooh.
We could reunite the Four Horsemen.
Which Four Horsemen?
Any pick, as long as
all of them got turned into glue.
As long as Mongo's there.
Mm-hmm.
Mongo's gotta be there.
What will Mongo do next is my favorite thing currently on the internet.
Oh yeah. I didn't think anything would get by Rick Rude taking atomic drops.
And Podner says we could have it at a NASCAR track.
That's a lot of room. That's a lot of room.
A tall order.
But see, here's the thing: if you have it at a NASCAR event, you can only work the left.
But wait, that's how
I'm leaving.
I think that's how.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yay! And Tony just got introduced.
First time, last time. Got it.
Good Lord.
So that means you can't.
Long time listener, never calling again.
That means you can't book any lucha wrestlers. Somebody out there's gonna get that, right? They work from the right. Everybody else works from the left.
We got it.
Okay. Okay.
Are we live still?
Do I need Matt Hardy to explain this?
Are we live still?
These events must be documented.
Getting color is when you bleed in a match. If it's unintentional, it is a hard way. I love the Matt Hardy explaining wrestling terms on Being the Elite. It's the greatest fucking thing ever.
It's the only good thing on Being the Elite right now.
Oh, man. Listen, man. Hey, man, you go 200 episodes or
we have
700 episodes and keep it all fresh.
We have a late edition, and I actually really love this. From Arlene in the chat room. Since Allegheny County pools will be closed this summer, drain a pool, set up a ring, and have watch while sitting around the edge of the pool dangling their legs.
Wow.
Yes.
Mineral Beach here in the South Hills of Pittsburgh. It's this old, I don't know if it used to be a wave pool or what, but it is drained and it is empty. The weeds are already growing in. This place will do anything. That is the spot right there.
Oh,
that is
man.
RWA presents.
Matt, that was exactly where I was thinking because we drive past it all the time to go to South Hills Village. So that is exactly where I was thinking. Clear the weeds out. We we make a pitch perfect riff off joke to bring in the younger crowd. It's perfect. In a Kendrick.
Call the show the deep end.
RWA presents the deep end. Let's do that. Take it, Derek.
Off the deep
Take
end,
it.
yeah.
Off the deep end? Oh, that's so good.
Go feel bad.
That's it. All right, well, I think we've solved all the problems of professional wrestling in the Pennsylvania area with this segment. I'm glad
You're
to see
welcome.
You're welcome. An abandoned pool.
I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to cut out this clip, and I'm going to tag every promotion in the area. Take these ideas.
Tag every promotion everywhere.
Yes.
You know AEW will put a fucking match in a pool.
Yeah, man. Tag GCW, man. I'll calm down.
GCW, AIW.
Tag New Japan. Why
Make
not?
it
Tag
happen.
Impact.
AIW
Impact
doesn't
in the
need
pool.
help. They have their backyard parties. I think one of those is going down. So
Impact is actually doing better now than they were when they were TNA funded by Panda Energy.
Yeah. They're doing,
Oh, God.
They are.
I
they are.
talk about something from Impact for a second.
Real quick, because we got to get to our lesson.
I have not watched Impact.
Okay.
Because they still have me blocked on Twitter.
Okay.
However, they do not have me blocked on Periscope. They do not have me blocked on Periscope. Okay. And I saw that they had a stream going, and the image was of Taya relaxing at home. So I'm like, oh, well, that gets my interest.
This
Taya's
is welcoming.
character in Impact is fucking amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's absolutely. She's just like home, like Skyping with all of her girlfriends, and Holly Meow from Lucha Underground is there. Like everything about it was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fantastic, and it was like the Real Housewives of Impact Wrestling. I'm like, this is fantastic.
Do they still make allusions that she's married to Johnny?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, she definitely is.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Well, I know she is, but I just wondered if there was like.
Well, Johnny was in Impact.
Yes.
He was Johnny Impact.
Yes.
So yeah, but it was just great. It was really funny, and like Rosemary was on it being weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a whole just long like video package thing. It was very weird. I enjoyed it, but I'm still not gonna watch their product because they blocked me.
Jeez, man. All right, guys, we have our homework assignment from last week. The professor, Jacob Edwin, taking us to summer school now with these assignments, and that assignment was the famous ladder match, championship match for the undisputed title from July 1st, 2002, Monday Night Raw. That was our assignment. Watch this today. I sat in the park and watched this. It was a great time. This is a fond memory. And I think we expressed when this was announced last week. This is a fond memory. This was
more of a one-sided match than I remember it being.
What's that?
It was way more of a one-sided match than I remember it being.
Yeah, a little bit, but there was like it was one of those. Hey, Jeff Hardy could do this, and I think they were still basically Matt and Jeff doing whatever at the time, right?
Well, I think this was before Jeff had most of his problems, right?
Yeah.
Because they were just coming off of getting murdered by Brock Lesnar every week for however long. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were coming off of that.
Didn't they just get split, too?
They just got split. It was like a few weeks ago.
Okay.
A few weeks prior, something like that.
Yeah, the first draft or the second draft, one of the brand extensions split up the Hardy Boys.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, I think, hadn't even started version 1 yet.
Yeah, version 1 was only I think it was like a couple months out still.
Mm-hmm.
I think just become WWE. Like this was like right at the brand, like the name change too.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think? How is this playing out versus what we've been watching? What are your thoughts on the match itself?
Oh, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
It was, everything was there. I still get a little squeamish now when I see chair shots right to the head.
Oh yeah.
Especially there were some bangers in that, but the one sound of and this will be forever. As soon as we got this assignment last week, the first thing that popped in my head was Jim Ross's call of go on, kid, make yourself famous, and then the loudest gunshot-like chair shot to the back you've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that was instantly what came in my brain. And it still plays.
Mm-hmm.
And it still proves American Badass Undertaker is the best Undertaker.
Can I jump in and just add on to that, because there is so much good stuff here for this match, and you're talking about Jeff Hardy really being able to work the David versus Goliath style really well. Taker showed up with his work pants on for that match.
Oh yeah.
There's a sequence where he's beating down overhands on Jeff, and Jeff gets the comeback and just starts throwing flourishes, and then Taker clobbers him and just cracks him. But then Taker says and mutters to himself, and of course this is 2002, there's no mics, no one's picking this up, so he's doing this just for the camera on the hard side, and he's going, holy shit, that he's shaking, those were some punches.
Mm-hmm.
Taker is showing up, he's bumping exactly how to make someone who is a tag team specialist who's becoming a single wrestler, if you need someone to help you become a superstar, Taker did that, and that's a lot of respect that Taker shows there to bump that way. The chair shots to the head, especially the one from the last ride where Hardy pops down, grabs the chair, comes back up, cracks him. That's rough. Jeff Hardy with perfect ragdoll physics, and then the ending and the climb your kid. JR, God, I miss this JR. I miss this JR so much.
Yeah, this was a Raw. There's a main event on Raw, and I felt like JR was calling WrestleMania.
This was and
so
King
good.
was on point too.
Yeah.
King was on point perfectly as coming as the heel color over here. I'm listening to King, and he's just doing it perfectly to the point where when he's climbing the ladder and climb the ladder, kid, make yourself famous. King has panic in his voice because he's seeing Undertaker about to lose this title. Like, he believes, and then Taker comes in with the chair shot from Gunpowder, and but it's just so well choreographed and thought out and called in the match and just brilliant. And then the post match with the I'm still standing, all that stuff, and just. This is a match that I think is probably one of my top 5 matches, just from a storytelling aspect. If you are a smaller wrestler, watching this match and understanding how to do a David versus Goliath match and how to call a David versus Goliath match. This is the blueprint.
Matt, what about you?
I think I'm not as high on this match as everyone else is, but I will point out that I will state up front, Undertaker in this period is freaking awesome. But the bit where he has the match won, like 5 minutes in, and he's like, starts to climb the ladder, and he stops, and he gets back down so he can just beat up Jeff some more. That's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. When you've got the match won, but you just want to beat him up some more, when you pull the guy up, I mean, I guess sometimes it works, but to me, I'm always just like, give me a break. Like Jeff's beaten, and Undertaker just, decides, I'm going to go down here and beat him up some more. And, as it goes on, it goes on. And the other thing is, like, this weird, like, WWE logic, and it happens a ton during this period in WWE where you can get just obliterated by the Undertaker, just like beaten up, killed, buried, tombstone, chokeslam, whatever. But if he comes back and he pats you on your head, you got elevated.
Yeah,
Like, did you did this help Jeff at all in the long run? Now I know there's some extenuating circumstances when it comes to Jeff Hardy, but I don't know, part of that was kind of like. It just reminds me so much of like so many other things we see like that with Undertaker, especially once he jumps over to SmackDown. You see him go through this routine with Cena, and then you see him go through this routine with other guys who you never hear from again. But it's just kind of it's interesting.
And on the other side too, it's like with Hardy, it's like this was happening to him once every year or every 2 years until years later when it finally stuck. And he. Or even after he'd gone to TNA and been back, where it was like, okay, where he was finally like a serious contender, know?
Yeah.
I understand why the people I remember watching this match when it happened.
Yeah.
And I understand why the people in that arena believed that Jeff Hardy was going to win that match. Because I've been in arenas where a title change was definitely not going to happen, but I convinced myself that it was going to happen. But me sitting at home, I never thought Jeff Hardy was winning that match. Not even when he was climbing that ladder for the last time. But that being said, Undertaker's awesome. JR and the King accurately are in all-time form on this match. They are awesome. The bickering is so good in this match. As like King's like needling JR and just like, how can you feel bad for him? He brought this on himself. He's the one who challenged the Undertaker, and JR's just finally like, well, nobody deserves to get beaten up. Like, it's just, I love when like the King would just like back JR into a corner where it's just like there's no escape, and JR can just be just like,
When JR gets like to the point where he goes off play-by-play and starts doing a brief rant of color, like that's when it's a serious thing, and that's when like the tempo picks up. And JR in the late 90s, early 2000s was perfect at timing those right when the crescendo was coming up. So he timed them perfectly to the end of the heel beatdown to the face crescendo, and it just helped build on the commentary side. I remember watching this match live as a kid at 12. So like I remember this match. Yes, I was 12 when this match happened. And I thought Jeff Hardy was going to win the Undisputed. I was dead set on it because I thought he had it. It's a ladder. Jeff Hardy's a ladder specialist. He can climb the ladder faster. I forgot no wrestler in recorded history moves slower than when they're trying to climb a ladder. But, you know, these things, you buy in. And I bought in. And looking back on this match made me so happy because my disheveled, angry self looks back on this with 12-year-old eyes, and I just lit up like a Christmas tree watching it. So
it was a good moment. I loved it.
There's still a lot to like about it. The other thing that was funny about this match, the reckless nature of like ladder and table spots around this period, where like if you watch a match today, and they will like position the table like to the exact point. If it's off by like a skosh, they'll like scoot that table a little bit. This match early on, Jeff Hardy just like puts the ladder on top of the Undertaker, climbs the steel steps, and just jumps off. It's just like, what are we doing? I don't know.
One last thing, two ladders in this match. The short ladder used for all the spots and the big ladder for the climbing. Not 30,000 ladders, not a wooden ladder spray painted to look silver. Two ladders, and they're working exactly with two ladders. And really they're only working with one because the other one's just for climbing purposes.
And it's not up a lot.
They were really creative with the ladders too. I loved when Taker did the big boot on the ladder and like pushed it into Jeff, who was in the ring when Taker was on the outside. It was cool stuff. So good match. I don't want to sell it short.
I'm pretty sure I remember hearing like an interview with Taker. I think it might have been even on the This Is My Yard DVD, where he was like, I'd never been in a ladder match before, so I kind of let Jeff run the show on that. Which, you know, if that's what happened, that takes a lot of trust.
That's ringing praise if I've ever heard one. Because you know, if Undertaker's coming to you and saying, "Yeah, book it up."
Okay. By the way,
I might also be confusing it with Ric Flair at Edge, but I know I thought I heard it with Taker and Jeff Hardy too. So.
You could tell by the way Taker is performing in that match that he is trying to do his best for Jeff Hardy to make him, you know, make it a big match for Jeff. So
absolutely.
One last small thing, and sorry, Sorg. No one looked cooler in the world in 2002 than Undertaker, with the Undisputed title wrapped around his neck, driving his motorcycle back up the ramp. No one in recorded history has ever looked cooler. I still wish I could pull that look off.
Because no one version of Taker.
Absolutely.
The best version of Taker and the most underrated looking championship.
I don't think it's underrated. I
love the Undisputed Championship.
Second best behind Big Gold, but
it just wasn't around long at all. That's all.
Right, but that doesn't make it underrated. Like
I know, but it's underseen.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah,
that I'll take.
Yeah,
no, it's definitely one of my favorite belts. So that was our assignment, and we are going to get another one from Professor Jacob Edwin. Tony, I know you're very familiar with the Professor.
Let's hear it.
All right. So here we go. Our next assignment.
My name is Professor Jacob Edwin, here again with the Wrestling Mayhem Show's weekly assignment. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Jacob Edwin, and you can find merchandise online at prowrestlingtees.com/Jacob Edwin. So we're going to stay within the last 20 years because that seems to be where everybody can keep up. Otherwise, I get told nobody got my assignment and that I shouldn't be, maybe I should pick better matches or something like that. These are all good matches. Don't get me wrong. I believe firmly in these assignments. So we're going to stay in 2008. Really it's going to be April 14th, 2008. On Raw, it'll be the defending women's champion Beth Phoenix against Mickie James. They had a lot of matches. They had a lot of matches this year and years after and years prior. These are two women that were potentially before their time. that you could absolutely just plug into today's roster on any show, and they would really be able to shine and to stand out. I think Beth Phoenix especially, only because Mickie James did come back a few years ago and had a pretty fun run, to say the least. So I want you to watch this with the sound on. A lot of people make the mistake of watching matches without sound, and I want you to make sure the sound is on and you're paying attention to how the crowd is reacting to these two, because the crowd has seen this match. They'll see it many more times afterwards as well, but they are still invested. And it may be something of a slow build, but it's worth it. It's worth hearing the reaction all the way up until the very end. And you want to hear the commentators as well, because the commentators, JR and King, they've seen a lot, and they should know what's coming just based on experience, but they obviously didn't see what was going to happen next. So make sure to enjoy and study up, and thank you.
There you go. It is Mickie James and Beth Phoenix. This was like some of the glimmers of hope for the women's division in the late 2000s, I recall.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of the tail end of that really good, like, that was a little after, like, Trish and Lita had left, right?
I think so.
And it hadn't yet become just all the, I mean, Diva Search might have been done by this point, but just there was that void of of a few years, kind of, where you had Beth Phoenix around, but then it was also like Candice Michelle or what, people that didn't really make much of an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the period where the last vestiges of your Trishas, your Litas, your Victorias, were heading out the door. Mickie was part of that crew of four that crushed it in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And this is sort of the last vestige before the Divas era shows up. And then, of course, we all remember when AJ Lee busts that door down and started the Divas Revolution, and never gets enough credit for the fact that she was the first person to start the Divas Evolution / Revolution. Mm-hmm. She was the one who started it.
Oh, she gets credit on this show.
Oh yeah.
Her, Paige, and Emma. That's it.
Yes,
that's the list.
Mm-hmm. Or Emma.
And I will say the Bella Twins were a part of it, but not for the reasons that they think.
Right.
Yeah.
not for the reasons that we are told, and not for the reasons that they probably think.
Ugh.
Like,
or even, like, speaking of, like, Beth Phoenix, it's like it's almost like her most remembered stuff was with, like, Santino, and things. It didn't have a lot to do with the wrestling part of it. You know what I mean?
So unfortunate, because I remember when she debuted and she was a killer. Mm-hmm. She was a killer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She came in with hype, too.
Like,
people knew who she was when she came in. Even sort of casuals like me, like, knew the name.
Yeah. So we'll get into that next week. So everybody study up, give that a watch. Lastly, as we usually close the show, guys, real quick, what did you learn from wrestling this week?
Well, we kind of learned, like we said, talking about what they're doing at WWE shows now. It's like we kind of learned that they weren't as up on on the up and up as we were led to believe. So if they're not up to their, like, the testing and all that stuff, it's I guess I learned that we maybe put a little too much faith in them, that they were doing the right thing, or as close to the right thing. I don't know.
Yeah, or at least somebody did. Some people did.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Oh, I learned that somehow, some way, in between losing terribly on Raw, almost winning the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, Akira Tozawa was somehow able to become the head of the Foot Clan. I didn't see that one coming.
No.
I didn't see that one coming, and also, it makes me want to assign turtle designations for Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Eric, and Ivar.
Which one is the party dude?
I would say that's Ivar. I would say that's either Ivar or Dawkins. See,
or what about, or I don't know. Let's see.
Like Montez, I feel like I think he's got to be the Leonardo. He takes control of a lot of these segments.
Yeah.
I think Eric is more the tech guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he showed profanity, like he was a master at the bowling alley. Like I'm pretty sure he was the one who was like okay when the strobe lights came on. So I'm assuming he does machines.
He's not scared by modern technology.
Right. Now, I will say, based on Dawkins' history of, like, hitting on Nikki Cross, I'd say he's probably rude. Like, cool, but rude. And I'm going to say Ivar is a party dude because the ladies love him. And Eric, not so much. And by the way, that does mean Big Show is Splinter. Because he can't be Casey Jones, because that is Raw guest star Stephen Amell.
Jeez. We went the whole way.
I thought. Oh, I was thinking. Oh no, you know what? I was thinking. Was it Chris Evans? Was he Casey Jones in this CG movie?
What?
Oh yes.
Oh wow.
Yes, he was.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart was the bad guy. I remember that part. Anyways, wow, that went some places.
I forgot about that.
Matt, what'd you learn from wrestling this week?
Yeah. Okay.
Follow that.
I'm still a sucker for Captain Charisma. Just the mere suggestion that he might wrestle another match was enough to make me go, what? And New Japan Pro Wrestling is worth the wait.
Fantastic. What about you, Tony? What'd you learn?
I learned two things this week. The Dark Order does do franchise licenses, and they're very not stringent on their dress code policy, following the franchise rules.
Wait, what? What was that from?
Tozawa is discount Dark Order.
Oh,
the ninjas are discount Dark Order.
Thank you for walking me through that.
Yeah, I got you. Did anyone else get that? Let me know in the chat. If not, I'm way too dense for this. And the second thing I learned, just pieced out of my head, but basically it's similar to the Christian thing. That his first Close Your Eyes song was much better than his last Close Your Eyes version.
Waterproof Blonde.
Waterproof Blonde was the first, and who did the second one? It's a pop punk band. I have their CDs, and I can't remember who does it.
Oh, we'll look that up. Well, somebody drop that in the Facebook group, please.
But Waterproof Blonde just crushed it, and it was such a melancholy version of that song. I loved it. Of course, At Last You're On Your Own was phenomenal, but I really do love Just Close Your Eyes as a song, and I did very much cry a little bit when they came out. He came out to the ECW version of that. Because I remember Matt Strike, or no, it was it Todd Graham? It was just
I know what you're thinking about, but that was Stryker, yeah.
Was it Stryker? Where his shock was, hey guys, it's Christian. Check this out. Check this crap out.
I thought you were gonna say like when Stryker was saying that when Christian came back and he said this moment has become instantly classic. So he was like,
well, that was a fun part of it. But so I remember him. He came back to face off against Jack Swagger for the ECW Championship, and I remember this very vividly because the reaction was so nonchalant from the commentary booth that I was like, "Yes, it's fucking Christian. Will you pop for him, you assholes?"
Wow. What the fuck? Sorry, I'm reading the chat. That's what I'm what the fucking. Hold on
Christian
a second.
Cage, baby. TNA.
I got to roll through. No, I got you. I got your Christian Cage. No, sorry. There's the management over here. Dave Ponder says he learned turkey legs are magic, and there's a big ninja out there. Let's see. Tina says that she learned fuck sleep because New Japan is back. And this is the one I was trying to go through, so help me out here. Bobby F. J. Town says, I learned that Braun Strowman has a new nickname from him based on the new music entrance video, Snorepiercer is his name. Greatest match ever. This match has everything. Other superstars, finishing moves, piped in, ghost crowd noises, blood, swear words. As written.
Yep.
Yes. Hope I represented that.
No, Sorg. Hold on. Sorg, no. All right. Sorry, Bobby. I know what you're going for. I'm going to do this properly. Sorg, Bobby's doing a Stefan bit from SNL.
I don't know Stefan.
I know. I'm about to do it for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
WWE's new hottest match is the greatest match ever. This match has everything. Other superstars, finishing moves, piped in ghost crowd noises, blood, swear words, the works. That's it. That's the bit.
I forgot Dave Cortez.
What's that?
Well, Bill Hader always cracked up when he would add Dave Cortez in a dress or something.
You mean Dan Cortez?
Dan Cortez, not Dave Cortez.
MTV Sports is Dan Cortez.
I was gonna say, and it had Shaquille O'Neal as a ninja.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal as a ninja.
And the ghost of Howard Finkel.
The ghost of Howard Finkel, yes. Absolutely.
I learned that thanks to tonight, we're going to save independent wrestling in Pennsylvania. Is what I learned.
We're going to do it at Mineral Beach.
I'm like,
Sorg, I've been saving commentary for 2 years now. You think I don't have a head start on you, bud? Come to me, man. I got you.
Guys, a lot of stuff. Speaking of that, first I want to give a shout out to go follow our friends, the main event, Duke Davis, Gannon Jones Jr., follow any of their accounts. They have a new shirt out supporting a great charity. So please go check them out and pre-order that shirt. And also our friend, the Rev Ron Hunt, he's got links on all of his social media accounts or over on his Pro Wrestling Tees page. He has a new Black Lives Matter shirt with proceeds going to the Black Lives Matter cause. So please go support those, support the causes, support the guys that are putting that out there. So I want to give those shout outs for that. Also, I meant to mention this earlier when we were talking about the training sessions, but check out on Prospect Pro Wrestling the bracketology with Tony, with Doc, talking about the matches coming up, the oddball teams coming up, including the first promos of all those teams meeting each other. And the first of the quarantine matches starts this Saturday on Prospect Pro Wrestling social media on the Facebook page. And Wednesday night, it's gonna be a very special treat because Zeke Mercer and Stevie LaBelle are gonna have a match, and it was it was one of the highlights of the training sessions taping. So please go check that out. Remember, both of them have a very extensive martial arts background, and that comes out a lot in this match. Tony, I know you had some thoughts on this because I think you're the first one that's complimented them on that match when we cut.
This match was so good, I left the commentary booth to cheer Zeke Mercer on.
Yeah. Yes.
I legitimately quit my job for 10 to 12 minutes to cheer on Zeke Mercer. No, seriously. Wednesday at 10 tomorrow is when it's premiering?
Yes. So as soon as NXT and AEW is done, hop over on that Facebook page. It'll be premiering live. You can jump in the chat with everybody, and it'll be on there afterwards.
And watch, this match is phenomenal. And just a quick shout out to Stevie LaBelle and Zeke Mercer. Because this is sort of shoot a little bit, right? Zeke Mercer is so goddamn talented, people. If you're not watching his damn matches, you're a fucking idiot. This kid is so damn good. 2PW's roster, RWA's roster, Pittsburgh Independent Wrestling is in such a good place right now. If you are not paying attention, you are an idiot. Okay? Talk crap on me on my Kincaid Facebook profile as much as you want. You guys are dumb. Check these people out because they're so good and they're the future of wrestling, and you really should be watching them. Forget Raw, forget SmackDown, forget NXT, even forget AEW. Wrestling is going to be saved by the independents, not from the television shows.
There you go.
Plus with the 2PW shows, it's like that's only, as far as in 2PW, that was only Zeke's like third or fourth match with 2PW, right?
Third.
And then and then we never see Stevie. Like, well, he's had more like tag stuff with the Hossman, right?
Yep.
So it's a pretty good showcase for Stevie, who's been around for a while in 2PW, and then Zeke, who's pretty much new to the scene as far as we're concerned.
I hope
so. It's a good showcase for the two of them.
And I hope people react to this match, because I think this is a match that needs to happen again. The sequel needs to happen in front of an audience when that's allowed to happen for 2PW. So
I'll build a ring. I'll build a ring in my backyard to see this match again. I will take money out of my pockets. I will buy a ring, put this on, and we'll allow people to come watch this.
I can't wait. I can't wait to come to Tony Kincaid's Backyard Wrestling Bash coming this summer.
Hopefully the athletic
I think the ring. I think the ring is already there, and he's just trying to find an excuse to use it.
Wait, do you have adjoining backyards with Jamie Jameson? Because I've seen the ring in his backyard.
No, my ring is simply a figment of my imagination from days gone by when I was a kid in a moon bounce hoping to do a swanton.
And then and that's why he became an announcer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Tony Kincaid. Where can people, other than your voiceover on 2PW and the Renegade Wrestling Alliance, where can people find you online to see what's up?
I really just check Facebook at Tony Kincaid RWA. Just look up Tony Kincaid. It's a picture of me shaking Tommy Trueblood's hand, which probably needs to be updated. No offense to Tommy.
By the way,
also
also shouts to Tommy Trueblood. He had a medical scare. I understand that he's recovering well, so I want to throw out to him because I know he had some stuff going on. So shout outs for him as well. Sorry, back to you.
No, exactly, and I just need a new profile picture. There's nothing to do against Tommy, but follow me there. Check out my words. It's not as active as possible because my real world job is social media, and you know what they say about gynecologists looking at boobs off their time. Sometimes you just see enough. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Okay. All right, we got that. Mainstream Matt 1T on the Twitter. Check out his show on Thursday nights and on the Sorgatron Media master feed, and that is
Listen to Your Parents, where we discuss what the hell we're going to do now. With the kids.
With the kids.
Right? There's no easy answers.
No.
So I was reminded by my sister today, the answers only get more complicated now.
Just put them on a lake, Matt.
No. Let's,
put them on a lake.
Side note,
the
Matt.
green phase, and it should be all good, but it's not all good. It's only more complicated. The decisions only get more difficult. So,
side note, Matt. When your child kept walking into the frame, I make fun of Doc for that on RWA posts all the time, and it took everything within me to not do that because I was like, I'm a nice person today.
Hey, no, honestly, it's a good thing you didn't. He's a better booker than pretty much anyone working right now.
I gotta get to finish that tournament.
Sorg, please tell me who to suck up to after the show.
Okay. Oh, it's that kid.
You'd be blessed to be a part of Mason Mania.
Yes,
that's
right.
not even a joke.
You can call it. You can call it for him. Rob Brown. I mean, he's shooting video. He's working on stuff. I think he just got something to work on a trailer recently, right?
Yeah.
You've seen his work.
And I'm actually going back to work in 3 weeks.
Holy crap!
I don't remember any of my passwords. I don't remember my keys. I don't know. I gotta buy clothes. I probably gotta buy shoes. I can't find any of my work stuff.
Rob works at a movie theater, and you can understand how crazy that might be right now.
Oh yeah, boy,
how is that working? Didn't they move They moved all the movies back, like even that one that was supposed to be on.
Yeah, because Tenet was what they were holding out for. That was supposed to come out on the 17th of July, so we were going to open on the 3rd, but they bumped it back 2 weeks. I don't know what difference 2 weeks makes, but to the 31st. So I go back to work on the 10th.
Yep.
So it's the 10th of July.
I hope you're excited for Onward and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, and Trolls.
Yeah, I don't know what we're getting back. It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
You should just start bringing in random stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with the drive-ins, like they've been operating. Well, we've got one around here. They've been showing like some Amazon movies and like IFC, like these distributors that normally don't get like either full-blown theatrical releases, to where like the #1 movie in the country has been making maybe like tens of thousands of dollars for
maybe.
I
think it's only thousands of dollars probably, but
the two drive-ins around here, one is showing, actually that's fucking baller. One is showing Clue and Ferris Bueller's Day Off as a double feature.
The one up here had one of the screens, because we have a 4-screen drive-in theater up by the airport. And one of the screens was Jurassic Park and Jaws. I almost went this weekend.
Nice. Yeah. The other one by us is showing Muppet Movie and Dark Crystal.
Also great.
Yeah.
Why not Muppet Movie and Muppets Take Manhattan? Just do the double feature.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Great Muppet Caper, Muppets and everything. The whole Muppet oeuvre.
Right. Also, just give Jim Henson all the love. Jim Henson is one of the reasons.
It's the Muppet verse. Yeah. You're talking about the Muppet verse.
Yeah.
Mad Mike 4883 on the Twitters.
Cinematic Universe.
Yes. Also, I mentioned this last night. I'll mention it again for a little bit. Go to theplaguenerdalogs.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's done by Mark Bernardin from Fat Man Beyond. They have a whole bunch of nerdy actors, especially if you're fans of the CW DC shows. A lot of them doing different monologues from a bunch of different nerdy movies. All proceeds go to Black Lives Matter, and you can donate anything you want, and you get access to everything.
There you go.
It's great. So there's like 40 videos on there. I can't wait to look.
I forgot to mention Oscamp. Itch.io.com has like 1,000 games you can pay $5 for, and all of the proceeds are split between two Black Lives Matter related charities.
Nice.
So I meant to mention that on your show too. So okay, that's it. We plugged all the things. We've been on forever. Thank you, everybody.
One more plug. So. Last thing I want to say is the reason I'm on this show is because of Michael Doherty. And I don't know if I want to get Mike and I on this show and talk a little bit more about wrestling, Sorg. So I'm throwing that out there. Get Mike on this show. Get me on this show, because Michael Doherty is really cool, really good person, one of my closest friends in the world. I love that dude like a brother, and he's the reason I'm here today. And I'm doing a podcast on wrestling. 2 years prior, I wanted to never watch wrestling again. God bless.
There you go. That's a great story. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Mayhem out.
Everyone around me is doing Jaws and Tremors on July 4th weekend.
By the way, if you have HBO Max, dig through that catalog.
Yeah.
Missy was
huge.
It's like, you want every Critters movie? Do you want every Harry Potter? Do you? Yeah, do I? Every Aliens movie? Like, it's crazy in there.
I've never actually seen Jaws.
Really?
Whoa.
You have to check it out.
I've never seen it. It's on my list. Like, it's one of those that I don't want to like put on the background. I want to sit and absorb it. Like,
I
just rewatched it for the first time in a while. And what's that?
Brief spoiler: there's a shark involved.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
it's
I hope there's
it's
no
a lot
water
more faster
involved.
paced than I remembered it being. Like, there's a lot that happens fast. I just hadn't watched it for a while. I'd forgotten about that.
I think I watched all of them from like Sunday afternoon movie time. You know, like I never like rented the video to watch them. Like maybe as a child when my grandparents had them down the road. But like that's all I remember. But I'm just like, do I want to go back to that? Yeah, I mean, it's classic, I guess. Yeah,
There's some great like old thrillers out there that do the reveal of the villain great, and like Jaws is one of those that I like. If you're like a movie buff, like really watch Jaws and watch how they build the suspense for the shark itself and the reveal of the shark. Like, God,
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is great too.
Oh yeah, it's still I rewatched that. It holds up. Holy shit. Shit.
And you know what? Oh, and speaking of HBO Max, like, you know, they've got all the banners underneath where it has like Turner Classic Movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I found somebody pointed this out to me, and it's really there unless they changed it in the last 2 weeks. Under Turner Classic Movies, for some reason, The Wizard is under there.
No.
That's the Fred Savage Nintendo Super Mario Brothers 3 movie.
Yes.
For some goddamn reason, it's under Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah, I see no problem with that. What's the issue?
Yeah, I know your audience.
Was
Rob.
it misspelled?
Just that it's a little too recent, you know.
Did they say it was Ben Savage instead? Like I don't get the issue.
Holy shit! It's actually there.
This Ben Savage and Boy Meets World that raised me.
By the way, related Hackers is also on here. So
Hackers is the one movie I own that I've never watched.
What?
Is War Games on there? Because I haven't looked deep into it.
Let me
Is
see
War Games on there? Because War Games is one of the most underrated Brat Pack movies. It's never given love. Matthew Broderick, Ali Sheedy, and Defcon 4.
I had to remind my dad the other day that like he's like, I was watching TV this morning. He's like, there's this movie on Red Dawn, you know, and I'm
Wolverines.
like, I'm like, you've seen it. I'm like, I guarantee you've seen it before because it was on TV in some form every day for about 10 straight years.
They just started rotating it back through. It was on on TNT this weekend.
But that's one of those movies where if you haven't seen it, or if you don't think you've seen it, you have seen it at least several hundred times.
War Games and Cloak and Dagger are over on Stars right now.
Ooh, yeah, Cloak and Dagger.
That's another one that was always on.
Awesome. And we're talking the original Red Dawn, not the.
And also, guys,
right.
Also on HBO Max, 12 Rounds 3 Lockdown.
Yeah.
Ooh. With AEW champion Jon Moxley.
Yeah. What about have you guys seen Daryl? Did you ever see that?
Daryl?
It was it was
the
an Android.
movie?
No, it was like an Android child.
Oh no, I've never.
D period, A period, R period. What?
Yeah.
I think I saw that once.
And that was like what's funny is like when I was in the Air Force, I was stationed at Beale Air Force Base, California, which was home of the U-2s, and I found out that they filmed, like there's a part in the movie where he sneaks onto an Air Force base and steals a plane because a robot child can do that, and that was my base.
Nice.
So it's like, oh, there's our claim to fame, I guess. We were in Daryl.
Also, Sorg, remember how I was telling you I watched the Animatrix recently?
Yes.
That's on HBO Max.
Yeah, I saw it on there. Hey, highly recommended, Ready or Not on here.
I didn't. I know what it is. I haven't seen it though. There's like a lot from last year. I haven't seen it.
God!
It was a nice surprise.
They put on Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
Yes. Ready or Not was the movie that I watched it. A fire alarm went off at near the beginning of it, and then I ran into Chris LaRusso and Laura Lovelace in the parking lot while we're waiting to go back in. I was just like, "What? What are you doing here? Did you start the fire?" Definitely. Ad Astra, skip it. Yeah. Don't bother. It's no.
Broken Arrow, do not skip it.
No, okay.
Broken Arrow.
I'm just going A to Z now.
I saw Broken Arrow opening night.
Arrow's good.
Yeah.
I really hope. I don't know how they're going to do Matrix 4 because I'm a huge Matrix fan, except for the ending. But
except for 2/3 of the movies.
I'm a huge Matrix fan, except for most of the catalog.
Only specifically the Matrix. No, specifically just the Matrix.
That movie.
Yeah. I'm a huge The Matrix parentheses 1999 fan.
Yeah.
But I really want to see how they do it in a 2020 world where every Eastern concept has been taken by edgelords who have no concept of what they're actually talking about. Because I was huge, I love Eastern philosophy. And I'm like, they're doing such good stuff here with, the Eastern philosophy and how it balances out, and Buddhism and that, all those things. And then Reloaded and Revolutions comes out, and I'm just like, well, they threw that out the fucking window.
And then they did a really good job of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, they did. They actually did.
No, honestly, I saw Matrix 3, and then a couple years after that, I saw a preview for Dragon Ball. I'm like, if they get the guys behind Matrix, they could do a pretty decent Dragon Ball movie. They did not. They did not. That was the worst birthday present I've ever had.
I don't even know who did the. It had to be a total nobody that did the Dragon Ball movie.
Oh yeah,
and then and that was around the same time you had that shitty Street Fighter movie that nobody asked for too.
Hey, hold on.
I said the shitty one.
Okay, you're talking about the Rise of Chun-Li, right?
Yeah, like the Legend of Chun-Li or whatever the hell. Yeah,
I'm making sure because Raul Julia is a fucking treasure.
Oh yeah.
Well, with the Van Damme Street Fighter one, that reminded me. It was around about a decade ago is when I got my first Blu-ray player, and it's like, okay, now this is my chance. I'm gonna only do the best of the best, the new format, only the best movies. But then I found Street Fighter on sale for like $8, and, and like two weeks after I bought my Blu-ray player, it was like,
have not deviated. You have not deviated. You're absolutely fine.
Yeah,
I bought Short Circuit 1 and 2 on a 2-pack Blu-ray for $5, and I've never made a wiser purchase.
Yeah, and I just upgraded to 4K, and was going to do kind of the same thing, but to again, to keep with the theme, I found like Universal Soldier on 4K for like $10, and was like, that is legit one of my favorite movies. So the first movies I bought for 4K were like Into the Spider-Verse, the kind of movies you're gonna get that way, and then like Universal Soldier.
By the way, Rob.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse. Have you watched the alternate version?
I don't believe so. I've watched all like extras and stuff on it, but I don't know about the alternate version.
Okay,
what's the alternate?
It's like with all the deleted scenes and stuff.
I think
with the roommate and everything.
Because when you go to the deleted scenes, like there's still sketches and animatics. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gets weird.
But there's also a version of the movie that they play that has those inserted back in.
Yeah,
where he learns how to be Spider-Man from the Spider-Man movies. Where if you listen to commentary, the guy that's supposed to be playing Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movies, but was ultimately scrapped, was Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise was supposed to be playing Spider-Man in a movie about Spider-Man in a movie about Spider-Men.
Yeah.
And women and pigs. But yeah, I was like, wow, that would have been fascinating.
but it's so crazy that they've done that many versions of Spider-Man and stuff now that they could put out something like a movie like this where it's like, we're just gonna explore every single corner of this.
Then they're not even started yet. Like
read Spider-Verse, it gets wild.
Yeah. Whereas I'll bet you there's a new Batman movie coming out next year at this point, right?
Yeah.
With no matter how many times we've seen Batman's origin, it's like they're going to show the Waynes getting shot again, just because. Just because it's the same. He has exactly the same origin in every version of the character there's been, but they still feel the need to take 10 minutes to remind us.
I would love someone to do a movie. Which version of Batman is it where Bruce is shot instead of, and then Martha becomes the? Yeah, it's one of the Flashpoints.
Oh, Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That wasn't fully done in a movie, I don't think.
Oh, it was just a comic then. But I really would like to see a movie version of that where Thomas is Batman and Martha's Joker. Yeah, I think that'd be a fresh take on that.
There's an animated Flashpoint movie where they do go into Thomas Wayne as Batman, but they don't. They only hint at what the Joker was. But
that's because even in the comics, that main Flashpoint series was only like 5 or 6 issues, but they had all the world of Flashpoint, like 20 other crossovers that
that's probably because I keep.
But they're all kind of ancillary. Yeah.
I keep up with the MCU or the Marvel Universe in the comics pretty well. DC always mixes me up for some reason. I don't understand why. Like ask Sorg. I shot a freaking I did an entire promo talking about Chris Taylor and Earth 2 Chris Taylor, and it made complete sense to the point where the comment section was like, I hate this Kincaid guy, but he's right.
Yeah, that was good. That was one of the points where we cut him off with a dance break, but it was kind of like sad because he was actually making a good point.
Yeah.
We're still on
but
stream
the DC
somehow 4 people are still watching you guys just bullshit about movies, so I'm just letting it go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get on here so I can go edit over there. So
I was going to say with the DC app though, with all the comic stuff, they're really good at like, here's the entire storyline, here's all 50 tie-ins if you want to check them out.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out then, because I really do like I really do like Batman, even though holes are being punched into him by Twitter right now, and I'm really not enjoying that they're poking holes in Batman right now. But like the DC superheroes are genuinely fun, and the ones I kind of grew up on, because Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond were my television shows as a kid. Batman Beyond, good lord. Why does no one treat that show with the respect it deserves?
The Joker, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Still, and Master of the Phantasm.
Still my favorite Batman movie.
It's so good. It's so good. And also, I mean, that scene with the Joker death scene, that whole breakdown.
God.
The uncensored version. Don't give me the censored version.
Yeah, no, it just chills. Like
that's. Because that was
neither of them have gotten Emmys for acting for that.
Kevin and Mark.
Crime.
Yeah. Who would have thought in a million years that Luke Skywalker would be one of the best voice actors of a generation?
Andrea Romano. But you know what's funny? I was watching on Disney Plus the old animated Spider-Man cartoon, which I loved as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the episodes of Hobgoblin, and I remember the Hobgoblin from when I was a kid and stuff. But I didn't really remember much about him.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he came on screen, he started flying in. All of a sudden, hello, Spider-Man. I'm like,
whoa, yes.
He just did the same voice twice.
Yeah.
Like, it's the exact same voice. Like, there's not even really that much of a change in pitch.
But does he have to change? When Mark Hamill's key to fame is being the Joker, like number one with a bullet. No disrespect to Heath Ledger, because he did a great job, and I thought he was amazing. He died for the movie. When I think Joker, I think Mark Hamill, and that's because of the animated series, the movies he did, Arkham, the Arkham video games, all that stuff. Like, he's the voice. And then it's Jared Leto, and then some other people. But Jared Leto too, obviously.
I think there's a Harley Quinn animated series on the DC app, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. I want to say it's like Alan Tudyk might be Joker on that. I forget. That's one of those ones where I forget if it's him or not. I know he's on it, but that show is just full of just like every voice is a name. On that.
The history of Harley Quinn is so interesting.
Yeah.
How she came to be.
Yeah, but that animated series is just awesome. But
I will say an underrated Joker performance is from Under the Red Hood, John DiMaggio.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, John DiMaggio did a great job.
He crushes it. Like, and his laugh, like, the first time I watched it, I'm like, really? But by the end, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, the only problem about that was they gave him the same line to read twice at different parts of the movie. But otherwise, I'm like, this is a fucking great version.
Who did Dark Knight Returns Joker?
Mark Hamill.
It wasn't Hamill. It wasn't Mark Hamill.
Dark Knight Returns, I'm pretty sure was Hamill.
It wasn't.
Let me look here. Because I know Batman was Peter Weller. Like, they went with somebody who was like totally different, or who had not done it. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they did the same with Batman.
Michael Emerson. Excuse me. Yeah.
What's that?
Michael Emerson.
Okay, he's on. He was on Lost, right?
He was on Lost, Person of Interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was pretty good too, but that's a different style of Joker that you have to do, and Dark Knight Returns is such a heavy comic.
I still
In
wish
general,
they would have done that with the real Batman and Joker. That's unfortunate that they didn't.
Yeah, but I mean that monologue, the I want you to remember monologue that he does in that, like hearing that live after reading it, when I read it, like that was a huge moment for me. And then I always get really depressed thinking about that monologue because it was used to tease in the Batman vs Superman, the movie, and that was the original. And then you just think, oh right, Ben Affleck was Batman for a little bit.
Hey, Ben Affleck was not the problem with that.
No, the editing was, but it didn't help that
the script. The script was pretty bad.
I'd say the script was the problem, but Ben Affleck, I thought he was pretty good.
He wasn't.
Yo, Ben Affleck was the bomb in Batman.
And he was fine as a I've had enough of this shit Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I guess I was having trouble kind of accepting it because I had spent, you spend so many years with Christian Bale as Batman, and then seeing a completely different Batman. I think it kind of took me out of the.
I hate Christian Bale as Batman.
Oh, that reminds me. I
love him.
I saw somebody.
Wayne.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne. He's great. He's great because he's Patrick Batman. I get it, but he's a terrible Batman because Chris Nolan did not know how to write Batman.
I saw somebody today.
Gotham. That's what he was fascinated with. He wasn't fascinated about Batman at all.
It's like it was they were good crime movies that had Batman in them. That was kind of the, But I saw somebody posted something today where it was 25 years ago today, we learned that the bat signal is not a beeper.
Yep.
Of...
I have said this before. This is the hill I will die on. If given a choice to watch only for the rest of my life, the two Schumacher movies or the 3 Nolan movies, I'm going Schumacher.
I'll go with the first Schumacher one.
I'm not Batman and Robin.
No, Batman
Forever is very watchable.
If you don't take Batman and Robin seriously, everyone in that movie is having a blast.
That movie.
I get that. Go ahead.
75% of the dialogue in Batman and Robin is expository monologues,
and puns,
and ice puns. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. It's just I can't. Yeah. I just can't because
Uma Thurman is the worst part of that.
I will give you that, but Jim Carrey as the Riddler, I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
I still want to see him be the Riddler again. Only take it completely 180.
The other side, the other way of it. Have him be
darker with it.
Yeah.
Especially since he's shown that he can do that.
Well, post Truman Show, Jim Carrey is so disrespected, and it pisses me off. Have you seen? Who here has everyone here seen the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that movie is phenomenal and not given enough respect. And Jim Carrey carries the crap out of that movie. Oh, with what's his name? Oh God, what's his name?
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Yeah.
And just that was at a point where Harris was just crushing it in secondary roles in every movie in the world at that time. And Jim Carrey he's still doing the Jim Carrey faces.
Mm-hmm.
But when the end of that movie is just I cry every time when he leaves. And I don't care. And to the 4 people who are still watching, Tony Kincaid cries like a little girl at the end of movies. I don't care. I wear a dress. I cry in movies.
I was in college when that movie came out, and it just so happened to be that one semester when I had the philosophy class, and then the Truman Show came out, and it just kind of my mind was ripe, and it really hit me. So yeah, I love that movie too.
Yeah, I was overseas when it came out. I didn't get to see it until it came out on video. So it was one of those, I think I didn't realize when I first saw it that, because it's all about, okay, he's been living this life that's total, it's a TV show, he doesn't know it, and then things start to kind of go wrong, or things happen to where he starts to suspect, that his existence isn't what it is, right? But I didn't realize when I saw, when I finally got around to seeing it, that starts happening like 2 minutes into the movie.
And the best part is when they reveal that it's been happening his whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Like you kind of get that recap of this is what it's been. Yeah.
They essentially have a podcast about the show. And they're like, oh, this isn't the first time someone's broken character. Like,
yeah.
Well, okay.
Like they have like people that were fired off of the show that are trying to come back to tell him what's really up, like his father or whatever,
And they weave that part into the plot so well that it fits, like the exposition fits so well. Like exposition can hang you up so badly, and it just flows so perfectly.
There's like a middle part where like it almost feels like documentary kind of.
When he's driving the car and just driving it in circles and trying to go anywhere but where he is to try to fuck with the cameras, like, and then just and the end scene where he's like, I've known you my whole life. You don't know what was in my head. And I'm just tears. Philosophy 101. Character development.
Yeah.
I do think I entered wrestling because it's the last bastion of true character development.
All right, now, I gotta go, boys.
See ya.
See ya, Matt.
I meant to bring this up during the show, but forgot that it'll be interesting once you get live audiences back, like how they might react to certain people, like especially guys that weren't around the last time there was an audience.
I think once you get live audiences back in,
yeah,
like you're not gonna be able to get a full crowd reaction until a month of real shows.
Yeah, because you're just going to be happy to fucking see everybody.
No, you're going to be happy to see anybody.
Yeah.
Not just everybody, anybody.
Yeah.
Are we talking in independent? Because I think they might have to reset some universe.
No, I mean like WWE and stuff, like how they've been steering some guys like say, oh, this person's been a big face or whatever, but it's like, but is it going to be like somebody that the audience is really into to where they're really going to get that strong face reaction?
Austin Theory going to be?
Because you got guys like that who haven't even was Austin Theory he in front of an audience at any point yet?
He had 2 to 3 matches on NXT in front of.
Oh, that's right.
About it.
But he was like Mania was like his first main roster show, wasn't it?
It was the Raw,
or maybe the week before.
Because Andrade got injured, and it was supposed to be Andrade and Garza.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Profits, but then Andrade got his rib injury or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
Because his title run is based off like connecting with the fans, and oh god, I just hope that he gets a good run once they go back to regular shows.
Yeah, I'm worried they're going to pull the title off of him before they get back to real crowds.
No, I don't think before because there's no one else on Raw that's currently over enough to take it from him.
Once Randy's done with whatever he's doing with Edge, I think he's primed for a lengthy heel champion run.
Maybe. I don't know. I think they could just be building Randy up for Drew to take him down.
If you're going to do that, have it done at WrestleMania. Don't waste that.
Well, who knows what WrestleMania is going to be?
That's fair.
Yeah.
When it comes to independence, Sorg, Justin Idol, Doc, myself, Hentai, we have this conversation all the flipping time. Like we don't know what the universes are going to look like. Realistically, in RWA, we have a feud between Ryan Edmonds being a racist piece of shit against Rev. Like, how do we do that when we go back?
Well, carefully, very carefully.
Forget the fact that Edmonds is now on fight.
And I feel like you could just go to RWA and do that as a show, and that's fine. But we tape the things, and other people can see it. Like, I can't promote that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right.
Like,
So
you guys can do it, but I can't like put a clip on the internet right now.
right. And I had that same thing, like talking about like, with my students at Cal, like they want to talk about social issues and introduce like some of the clubs, and they're like, we can introduce the college Democrats, college Republicans. I'm like, let's not introduce the college Democrats or the college Republicans.
Yeah.
And then you want our Black Student Union is very active on campus, and I want to promote them, and I also can't because we live in Washington County, which is 60% redneck. So like you're just like torn in what you want to do there. So it is what it is. I don't know, like what, like Sorg, and I'll ask you this question because I don't want me to start moving towards a Patrick Bateman, American Psycho concept.
Okay.
Sort of be humiliated for a little bit until we get back, and then become the psychotic businessman instead of, and at the same time I'm like, if we do that, do I have to actually be involved in angles? Like, I really don't want to be.
Yeah, because I mean, we already, like, I know we're kind of doing stuff now that's like putting you guys kind of in the spotlight, but you're the only ones that are like doing things right now, right? And
Yeah, I want to be out. I want to be out of it because I know, like, I already can hear the conversation J-Rock's going to have with us first show. Well, I mean, the interactive tournament was fine, but you guys focused on yourselves a bit too much. J-Rock, when did you last send the promo?
Yeah. Yeah.
When did any of you last send the promo?
I mean, yeah. So I mean, if we're not doing anything with the wrestlers, like, we can only do so much. You talking about the wrestlers. So at a certain point, I mean, when we're doing something with you interacting with the wrestlers, like what we're doing with
Jordan
and stuff. So like that does something, right? So I mean, if we're running regular shows, I wouldn't want to do half the shit that you guys are doing, right?
No.
But we're not so.